All right. I think we're live. Let's get the notifications out real quick. All righty. Let's let's get started here. So let's what do we want to start with? I think I want to start with the JavaScript one. I think that's going to be the most interesting. This is the one that came up today. And yeah, it seems to be gaining a little bit of attention for this. So yeah, yeah. Um, give you a second, huh? Marker. So we're gonna start with JavaScript TM start. Alrighty. Okay. Alrighty. So, oh, my camera. Give my camera a minute. There we go. Alrighty. So, this is a thing. Um, Oracle owns the copyright to JavaScript. So, there's inherently an interesting situation there with a company who really hasn't done much with the platform and the language. Most of it's designed by committee. Hey, no, how's it going? Good to see you too. Um, but it's kind of interesting when an entity that's not necessarily too interested, it seems, in the technology is so heavily it owns such a big part of the community. And I know this is like a huge deal in the Rust community, like being able to use trademarks and being able to produce content technically. You're not supposed to use the JavaScript name without Oracle's permission. So there's kind of a huge issue there. And it one other thing that does seem interesting is, say, Microsoft owns NPM, the Linux Foundation owns Node, V8's owned by Google, and the trademarks owned by Oracle for the language. So you've got all these different entities all owning bits and pieces of JavaScript. So it's really interesting that one of the least involved companies owns the name. So anyway, let's read this. Let's read this and see what they have to say. And I don't know, maybe we'll sign the letter too. Let's see how this goes. So Oracle, it's time to free JavaScript. Dear Oracle, you've long ago abandoned the JavaScript trademark, and it's causing widespread, unwarranted confusion and disruption. JavaScript is the world's most popular programming language, powering websites everywhere. It's the only way to power websites on the front end. Yet few of the millions who program in it realize that JavaScript is a trademark you, Oracle, control. The disconnect is glaring. JavaScript has become a general purpose term used by countless individuals and companies independent of any Oracle product. It is amazing to me that I forget. Like, I had heard this once before, that Oracle owned the JavaScript trademark, and I completely forgot about it until this came up today. So it is kind of crazy that this is a thing. Oracle's hold on the JavaScript trademark clearly fits the legal definition of trademark abandonment. A previous blog post addressed this issue, requesting that you, Oracle, we might read that later, requesting that you, Oracle, release the trademark. Unsurprisingly, the request was met with silence. It's therefore time to take an active step in order to bring the JavaScript trademark into the public domain where it belongs. does it belong in the public domain? That's a big question. That is a big thing. Do 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 companies need to be the one who owns that? I mean, a foundation owning it didn't work out great for Rust. I mean, they deal with all sorts of issues with people trying to make content for Rust, and technically Rust Foundation can sue them because it's illegal. That's the entire reason. That's the entire reason Crablang exists. Like this fork, but made by Tech Savvy Travi. This fork exists, and all it is a shell script that replaces Rust with Crablang. It runs like over the top of Crablang, and all it does is exist so that you can stream and not be sued by the Rust Foundation. It's crazy that some of this stuff happens. So maybe public domain is the actual right answer. Maybe putting it in public domain for something that's literally a cornerstone of the open web, maybe that makes sense. So let's read on. Trademark abandonment. Title 15 of the United States Code, Section 1127 states, a mark shall be deemed to be abandoned if either the following occurs: when its use has been discontinued with intent not to resume such use. Intent to resume may be inferred from circumstances. Non-use for 3 consecutive years shall be a prima facie. I don't speak Latin, so I don't speak lawyer, so evidence of abandonment. Use of a mark means the bona fide use of such mark made in the ordinary course of trade and not made merely to reserve a right in a mark. So it is potentially in violation of this. I don't think Oracle ships a JavaScript interpreter, aside from maybe the one that I think there maybe is one. Okay, yeah. There's one for the JVM, and I think there's one that ships with there's one that ships with is this actively maintained? Stable release was 2022, 2 years ago. This is likely abandoned, but this is one that's embedded into the Java runtime, so you can run JavaScript within Java. But I've heard it's terribly not performant. I've heard it's really slow compared to V8. V8 has been leaps and bounds, and they're not even trying to compete. So so 2 here, when any course of conduct of the owner, including acts of omission as well as commission, cause the mark to become the generic name for the goods or service on or in connection with which it is used, otherwise to lose its significance as a mark. Purchaser motivation shall not be a test for determining abandonment under this paragraph. Okay. In the case of JavaScript, both criteria apply. I think possibly. Netscape, Sun, and Oracle. The JavaScript trademark is currently held by Oracle America Incorporated. And then there's the patent. How did this come to be? In 1995, Netscape partnered with Sun Microsystems to create interactive websites. Brendan Eich famously spent only 10 days creating the first version of JavaScript, a dynamic programming language with a rough syntactic lineage from Sun's Java language. It was also named JavaScript and launched aside Java because it was going to use Java as a jumping off point, essentially, to gain popularity. It was supposed to, that's why it was named JavaScript. I think it had a different name Mocha. Yeah, it was originally Mocha and LiveScript. So it was rebranded to JavaScript for a reason. In 2009, Oracle acquired Sun Microsystems and the JavaScript trademark as a result. It's interesting that Netscape and Sun collaborated, but Netscape held the patents on held the trademark. It's an interesting relationship. I would have thought Netscape would have wanted to hold on to that trademark, but here we are. So, the trademark is simply a relic of this acquisition. Neither Sun nor Oracle has ever built a product using the mark. That's not true per se. Just being fair here, they do have a JavaScript engine in Java, so that's not necessarily true. Legal staff, year after year, have renewed the trademark without question. It's likely that only a few within Oracle even know they possess the JavaScript trademark, and even if they do, they likely do not understand the frustration it causes within the developer community. So, here's the thing. Oracle has a bit of a reputation for being a patent troll. And for being a bit of a... They acquire a company and they do the bare minimum needed to steward the product, and then immediately upon acquisition, they don't abandon the product fully, but they charge money for it, and then they don't do much with it. Java has advanced in the last few years, but it laid stagnant for a long time, and with a large community backing before, community trying to get advances into Java before they actually went. And tons of shops are still on Java 7 and Java 8. Some places will never get off those old versions because of how much time we spent on those platforms, and admittedly how stable they were, but at the same time there was no advancements during that period, no significant ones anyway. So use it or lose it. Oracle has abandoned the JavaScript trademark through non-use. Oracle has never seriously offered a product called JavaScript. In 1990s and early 2000s, Netscape Navigator, which supported JavaScript as a browser feature, was a key player. However, Netscape's usage and influence faded by 2003, and the browser saw its final release in 2008. JavaScript, meanwhile, evolved into a widely used independent programming language embedded into multiple browsers entirely separate from Oracle. I have not seen how Google and other browser vendors legally can use the name JavaScript in their stuff. Let's go look at this. V8 repo GitHub. So this is the JavaScript engine behind Chrome. Let's see what we got here. So JavaScript engine. So V8 is a separate thing inside of Google. This is a public mirror. Code of conduct, license. Yeah, here's the legal stuff. Neither Google. So Oracle's name is not mentioned at all on this page. Okay, here's the Sun Microsystems. Developed at Sun Microsystems. Permission, use, or copy, distribute this software is freely granted, provided that this notice is preserved. Okay. And then there's the BSD license for Sun Microsystems. Okay, so Oracle's name So we're going to search within this repo for Oracle. Some type Oracle. I'm not sure if that's referencing Oracle at all. So there is zero reference to Oracle, the company, in here. There's reference to Sun Microsystems, but there's zero reference to Oracle. They haven't even bothered to force Google to update this. So very interesting. Spider Monkey repo. So this is Mozilla's. This is the piece of Firefox. 17 repositories. That's the website. Where's their legal source? Nah, that's not it. Mozilla.build. Spider Monkey readme. Page not found. Anyway, we won't spend too much time on that. Anyway, let's go back. The most recent specimen filed with USPTO in 2019 references Node.js.org, a project created by Ryan Dahl, the author of this letter, and also the author of Dino, and Oracle's JavaScript extension toolkit, Jet. But Node.js is not an Oracle product, and Jet is merely a set of JavaScript libraries for Oracle services, particularly Oracle Cloud. There are millions of JavaScript libraries. Jet is not special. Oracle is not even a member of the OpenJS Foundation, the body that the Node.js project lives under now, nor does Oracle have any involvement whatsoever in the development of Node.js. Is Oracle part of the ECMAScript? Is Oracle... Oracle becomes an ECMA TC39 member for Graal VM, probably. Graal VM is potentially another JavaScript product built by Oracle. So are they still one? See, this is something that came up before in 2014 and 2022. This also came up. So this is not a new thing. So Oracle's not even Oracle also offers GraalVM, a JVM that can execute JavaScript among other languages, but GraalVM is far from a canonical JavaScript implementation. Engines like V8, JavaScript Core, and SpiderMonkey hold that role. GraalVM's product page doesn't even mention JavaScript. You must dig into the documentation to find its support. Oracle's use of JavaScript in GraalVM and Jet does not reflect genuine use of trademark. That's arguable in court. I could see the Oracle lawyers taking this and say, we offer a platform in GraalVM. They also offer a platform on the Java runtime. It's not, and the Jet I don't think is probably enforceable. Like I don't see that one as being a thing. But anyway, These weak connections do not satisfy the requirements for consistent real-world use in trade. I think developers know that for the most part, but I don't think necessarily the lawyers will. So this is interesting, and that maybe that's where this petition comes in. A generic term. A mark can also be considered abandoned if it becomes a generic term. JavaScript, I would say 100% JavaScript has become a generic term. It is absolutely not something that anyone associates with Oracle specifically. They associate it with the internet and multiple browser vendors and multiple runtimes. Not even like the high level developers generally consider Oracle to be a part of anything involving JavaScript. So in 1996, Netscape announced a meeting of the ECMA International Standards Organization to standardize the JavaScript programming language. Sun, now Oracle, refused to give up JavaScript mark for this use though, so it was decided that the language would be called ECMAScript instead. Microsoft happily offered JScript, but no one else wanted that. Brendan Eich, the creator of JavaScript and a co-signatory of this letter, wrote in 2006, ECMAScript was always an unwanted trade name that sounded like a skin disease. It does. And so that's why the JavaScript standards these days are ECMAScript 2024, ECMAScript 2023, and so on. ECMA International formed TC39, a technical steering committee which publishes ECMA 262, the specification for JavaScript. This committee includes participants from all major browsers like Google's Chrome, Apple Safari, and Mozilla's Firefox, as well as representatives from server-side JavaScripts like Node.js and Deno. Oracle's ownership of the JavaScript trademark only causes confusion. The term JavaScript is used freely by millions of developers, companies, and organizations around the world, with no interference from Oracle. On the contrary, Oracle ships JavaScript that runs on these runtimes, and they probably use these runtimes internally pretty heavily. I don't think you can make the argument that Oracle just didn't know or they have their own competing one. It's not the case. They use it. They depend on the runtimes that I mentioned before or that are mentioned above. Oracle has done nothing to assert its rights over the JavaScript name, likely because they do not believe their claim to the mark would hold up in court. And at this point, if they say anything, they might lose it. And Oracle's not about losing IP and trademarks. So they're more into sitting on them forever. So unlike typical trademark holders who protect their trademarks by extracting licensing fees or enforcing usage restrictions, Oracle has allowed the JavaScript name to be used by anyone. This inaction further supports the argument that the trademark has lost its significance and become generic. There's also this thing, if you do not defend your trademark, you can pretty easily be removed or have that trademark removed from your possession. If a competitor is using your name and you do nothing about it, you do not take them to court, then your competitor can take the trademark from you. They can claim to be using it instead. Programmers working with JavaScript have formed innumerable community organizations. These organizations, like the standards bodies, have been forced to painstakingly avoid the name of the programming language they are built around. For example, JSConf. Sadly, without risking a legal trademark challenge against Oracle, there can be no JavaScript conference, nor a JavaScript specification. The world's most popular programming language cannot even have a conference in its name. I've never noticed that. I think I like JSConf better, honestly, as a name. I think it rolls off the tongue a little bit better, but it is a good point. No one can use this name. There's a vast misalignment between the trademark's ownership and its widespread generic use. freed the mark. By law, a trademark is abandoned if it is either not used or becomes a generic term. Both apply to JavaScript. For it is time for the USPTO to end the JavaScript trademark and recognize it as a generic name for the world's most popular programming language, which has multiple implementations across the industry. Oracle, you likely have no real business or interest in the mark. It's renewed simply because legal staff are obligated to renew all trademarks regardless of their relevance or use. We urge you to release the mark into the public domain. However, asking nicely has been tried before and it was met with silence. If you do not act, we will challenge your ownership by filing a petition for cancellation within the USPTO. To you, the readers of this letter, if you agree with us, if you're encouraged to sign this letter below, your support will help raise awareness and add weight to this cause. If you want to sign as an organization, minimum 25 employees, please email companies@javascript.tm. In addition, we're seeking pro bono assistance from lawyers with expertise in trademark law to help file a petition for trademark cancellation with the USPTO. It's likely that simply asking nicely will not get a response from Oracle. A legal challenge must be made. Reach out to this email if you can help. And so the names on here are pretty prominent. So there's Ryan Dahl, Brendan Ike, Rich Harris. That's another name I know. Wes Boss and Scott Talinsky, pretty prominent creators in this space. So these guys are pretty, and a lot more. They're pretty prominent members of the community here. I really do think that this is probably a bigger deal than just leaving this alone and letting this go for another 10 years or however long it takes. I do think that effectively Oracle is just sitting on the name. And this is an interesting spot. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here for a second. Oracle has admittedly sat on this trademark. They probably should have released it when they were trying to use the standard. They probably should have released it when going to the standards body, the ECMAScript stuff. They probably should have released the trademark at that point. That was their first mistake. But their second mistake is if you're going to hold on to a trademark, you need to use it. As a company, you can't just sit on a name and expect to keep it. So, again, mistake one, keeping the name when you weren't going to use it. Step two, not using the name once you said you were going to keep it. So, inherently, they were trying to keep the door open, essentially, so that they could maybe capitalize on the name later, but it grew too big to be a thing that they could actually effectively do in good faith and not get sued by companies. Because imagine a world where they said everybody who runs JavaScript on their computer or their TV or their toaster, everyone must pay for an instance of a JavaScript runtime to Oracle. They tried to do that. Well, they didn't try. They technically succeeded. The JVM requires that you pay to use Oracle's implementation of the JVM. They could very well they could change their license agreement and attempt to do the same thing with JavaScript because they're the trademark holder over that name. So they've been keeping this card in their back pocket for a long time. So it probably, you know what? It actually is probably incredibly vital that this enter public domain because of the gravity of the situation, because of the amount, JavaScript's running on rockets. Like SpaceX uses JavaScript Vue.js on their front ends for their crewed spaceship missions. Like it's running on rockets. So I think it has entered that it's too big of a piece of society. It needs to enter public domain, just to prevent abuse. That said, I do get the argument that all the other big key cornerstones of the ecosystem are owned by large corporations, and that's not a problem. Mozilla owns SpiderMonkey, Google owns V8, Microsoft owns NPM, and their open foundations own Node.js. Dino's a startup, I believe. So I do think that there's arguments either way, but I do think ultimately it's too important a piece of technology to keep under one company, especially when that company is known to abuse such things in the past. So I you can make your own decisions, but I think I am going to take the opportunity personally. I am going to sign this letter. I'm going to hide my screen for a second here because I don't know if it's going to dox my it might dox my email address. So 2 seconds. Authorize Dino Land. Your signature has been recorded. There we go. Cool. Probably there at the very bottom. Oh, there we go. No, right at the top. Ben Brower. Cool. So, I added my name to the list. Alrighty. Yeah, again, I think this is probably something that needs to happen. I don't think this is something that should probably happen. A lot of times companies need to hold trademarks. I think that ultimately you do need to have a trademark system. But I think in this case, I think it's been abandoned, and I think it's become something larger than just one company that needs to hold the rights to this. So I personally, I think this is a good thing. So if you like this video, hit the like button, maybe make a comment down below, especially if you think I'm wrong, if you think I've missed the mark here, or there's some big glaring thing that I've missed. I'm not a lawyer. I should have prefaced this with I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, most people know that. If you want to be here for the recording of these, join on Twitch on 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We record them every Monday. So, alrighty. With that, have a good one. Alrighty. One down. One down. I think it's kind of crazy how some of that stuff can work. Some of the laws around like abandonware and trademarks and things like that. I think it's kind of crazy. Need some water. We got a lot more to go today. Okay. Oh, I should have included this. In 1995, Netscape partnered with Sun Microsystems. Okay, so dear Oracle, please release the JavaScript trademark. In 1995, Netscape partnered with Sun Microsystems to create interactive websites. Famously, Brendan Eich spent only 10 days. Yeah, so they pulled this text. The trademark has no commercial value other than just Oracle's JavaScript extension toolkit. Oracle does not have any products using the trademark and presumably no planned usage. Oracle doesn't even participate in the development of any of the engines. It seems very likely that JavaScript trademark infringement would not be enforceable in court due to non-use. I think it's debatable. I think Oracle's lawyers can probably spin this one to be that Oracle still develops products using the JavaScript name, but we'll see. Nevertheless, the trademark is a dark cloud looming over the world's most popular programming language. Careful law-abiding engineers bend over backwards to avoid its use, leading to confusing terms like ECMAScript. Best value Oracle could derive from the trademark would be from a goodwill it receives by granting it to the public domain. It's understandable why this hasn't happened yet. It would require a very forward-thinking and high-level Oracle employee to propose something so tangible. Yet it obviously is the right move to trade a worthless trademark for brand marketing and goodwill. I think that's a good point. I think ultimately that would raise the shareholder price the most. And Oracle's fiduciary duty is to raise their shareholder price, using the trademark that they haven't used in the past as a marketing stunt. I think would be a better thing for the company. I think it would make them more money, which means it's probably their fiduciary duty to release that trademark. I think you could make that argument. So anyway, that was a little addendum. I'll include that in the video as well, I think. So yeah, cool. Okay, so we read this one. That was pretty big news, so I wanted to make sure we hit it. So what's next? What should we do next? RTO mandate or OpenAI 01 model? I think I want to do the RTO mandate first. I think this is a bigger thing to me. I feel more passionately about it than like the AI stuff personally. So Amazon RTO start. Alrighty. Amazon says employees may not get promoted if they ignore return to office. Oh, excuse me. Let's try that again. Amazon says employees may not get promoted if they ignore return to office mandate. All right. If they've been told not to, they might not get promoted if they ignore the company's return to office mandate. Well, that's probably a problem with being remote in general. You're probably going to get passed up more than people who are in office for promotions. In May, Amazon began requiring that staffers work out of physical offices at least 3 days a week. That was the old policy. I heard a lot of people like just clocking in and clocking out after like an hour or two of being at the office and just heading home. So I wonder if that's going to happen with the 5 day a week thing. So the company's push to get workers back in the office has been met with resistance by some staffers, I would imagine. All right. Amazon is dealing with the pressure on corporate employees. Let's try that again. Amazon is dialing up the pressure on corporate employees who haven't complied with the company's return to office mandate. Staffers who don't adhere to the policy, which requires employees be in the office at least 3 days a week, may not get promoted, according to posts on Amazon's internal website that were reviewed by the CNBC. Managers own the promotion process, which means it's their responsibility to support your growth through regular conversations and stretch assignments, and to complete all the required inputs for a promotion. If your role is expected to work from office 3+ days a week and you are not in compliance, your manager will be made aware and the VP approval will be required. A separate post on Amazon's internal career platform for employees says, in accordance with Amazon's overall approach to promotions, employees are expected to work from their office 3+ days a week if that's the requirement of their role. This is a little more lenient than I was hearing. The post goes on to say that managers are working with Amazon's human resources department to monitor adherence to the in-person work requirement, and this continues as we evaluate promotion readiness. See, here's the thing with this stuff. Like, I've heard of employees in Amazon who work with teams that are distributed across the globe, and their manager's not even in the same office as they are. So I don't understand how this applies in all scenarios. So this is kind of strange. The post goes on to say that managers are working with Amazon to monitor adherence. Yeah. Some details of the new guidance were previously reported by Business Insider. Brad Glasser, an Amazon spokesperson, confirmed the announcement in an email. Promotions are one of the many ways we support employees' growth. Wait. So this is the old one. So we're reading the 2003 one. We want the one from today. So Amazon RTO mandate. So this one's from Business Insider. This one's 7 hours ago. Let's use this one. So alrighty. Is that big enough? There we go. That's plenty big enough. Alright. Let's try this article instead. Amazon employers blast new RTO policy in internal messages. Can I negotiate my manager to pip me? Interesting. Some Amazon employees took to an internal Slack channel to blast the company after it announced plans to require corporate employees to work in the office for 5 days a week. Yeah, here's the actual original one. Oh, no. Oh, I can't do this. Okay, we gotta find a different one. Does USA Today have paywalls? Can we read this? Oh, these are so bad. These websites are so bad. Mainstream media is kind of painful now these days. Okay. All Amazon employees will return to the office early next year, says optimistic CEO. Andrew Jassy announced Monday that all corporate employees will return to the office full-time starting next year. Employees walked out last year over having to return 3 days a week. It's back to the office for corporate Amazon employees. All Amazon workers will return to the office full-time next year, shelving the company's current hybrid work schedule in the name of collaboration and connection, according to an announcement from Amazon CEO Andy Jassy. Amazon notified employees about the policy change on Monday, though it isn't set to take effect until early next year. Okay, well, that gives them some time to adjust, at least, I guess. The company, which required its employees to be in the office 3 days a week since February 2023, a move that promoted walkouts, continues to believe that advantages of being together in the office are significant. I'd like to know what they argue they are. In-person shifts, according to Jassy, make it easier for teammates to learn, model, practice, and strengthen our culture. So, again, I don't see how, if you've got a distributed team, if your team is distributed, it really doesn't matter if you're in office or you're at home. Like, if you work on the East Coast and most of your team is on the West Coast, or your team is distributed across the world per se, like, what good does it do to make you go in office? I've heard that a lot of these things may be being driven from the fact that Amazon has huge buildings everywhere, and there's tax deals being done in the background that require those buildings to be housed, and Amazon stands to lose a lot of money on their real estate if they don't use their premises. I'm not sure if that's true. Again, that's just allegedly what I've heard. So, it's interesting. Collaborating, brainstorming, and inventing are simpler and more effective. Teaching and learning from one another are more seamless, and teams tend to be better connected to one another, Jassy said in a statement. If anything, the last 15 months we've been back in the office at least 3 days a week has strengthened our conviction about the benefits. He added that he's optimistic about the policy change. I think there are inherently some benefits to being in office. I think there are some pretty big benefits to being in office. When you're like collaborating, I think when you're working to build a solution together, I think being in person can have a big benefit, but I don't think mandating it and making people do it is necessarily a good way to go about making it happen. And I also don't think it needs to happen all the time. You're not, most of the time, I'm heads down coding. I don't need to be collaborating. Quite the contrary. I need the peace and quiet. I need no drive-bys from people randomly walking by my desk and interrupting my train of thought. So I think there's times where either makes much more sense. I don't think a blanket mandate makes a lot of sense. I think hybrid makes sense, but the requirements around it probably don't, in my opinion. So, our expectation is that people will be in the office. Amazon's employees are expected to report to the office 5 days a week for the foreseeable future unless they have extenuating circumstances and special manager approval. They have until January 2nd, 2025 to make adjustments before the new expectations become active. Are these... So I think there were exceptions to the previous RTO mandate of 3 days a week in office. I think there were exceptions to that rule. So I'm wondering, this kind of almost sounds like maybe they're even removing those exceptions that existed before. So I'd be very interested to see the specifics on that. The change in policy, according to Jassy, isn't unusual because working from an office full-time was the norm at most places before COVID-19 pandemic. If I remember right, it wasn't necessarily always a thing. I think things were moving remote before COVID happened. Before the pandemic, not everybody was in the office 5 days a week, every week. If you had some sort of house emergency, if you were on the road seeing customers or partners, if you needed a day or two to finish coding in a more isolated environment, people worked remotely, Jassy said in a statement. This was understood and will be moving forward as well. Okay, so it's hybrid then, with a guise of being RTO mandate? Because this sounds like hybrid to me. Working from home 2 days a week was also not a given before the pandemic, according to Jassy. I think it probably depended on the team and the manager. Ultimately, I think that's what it should be. I think it should be manager discretion. I think a manager should be able to choose, and the manager should be looked at as how effective their team is, whether they're in office or they're not in office. I think the upper management should critique the manager on the outputs of the team, and then the middle manager should make sure that the team is doing what they're supposed to be doing. And if that means putting them in office for a certain amount of time or permanently, I think that should be up to the manager, not a blanket mandate. I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, this was This was a big deal. There's a lot of people upset about just the 3-day mandate. So, a group of Amazon corporate employees raised issues with the company's return to office mandate last year, staging a walkout in Seattle, location of one of Amazon's headquarters. USA Today reported. Workers were also there to protest the retail giant's contribution to the climate crisis as well as job cuts. Employees need a say in decisions that affect our lives, such as RTO mandate and how our work is being used to accelerate the climate crisis, organizers wrote online. Our goal is to change Amazon's cost benefit analysis on making harmful unilateral decisions that are having an outsized impact on people of color, women, LGBTQ people, people with disabilities, and other vulnerable people. If employees choose not to follow the current return to office policy, it could hurt their chances of being promoted, according to CNN. And then that's it for this one. I think that a blanket policy is ultimately going to lead to a huge engineering brain drain in Amazon. I think there are probably far more companies willing to be remote in this day and age, especially after COVID, than there are employees at Amazon. And I think that Amazon employees who don't want to deal with this, who really don't want to commute, they ultimately don't have to, and they're going to go to these startups, and they're going to go to other organizations like Microsoft and Google that do, and Netflix and all those other organizations that do allow for employees being remote. I think that ultimately Amazon's going to run into issues with brain drain with this. I think it'll be huge. I don't think this is going to be good for the company. If anything, I would bet that their stock price should tank. If everybody thought like developers, I guess anyway, their stock price would totally tank after this. What did their stocks do today? How did the market respond? It was kind of tapering off before. It was coming up, and then they probably announced this, and it kind of went down. It looks like it's down in after hours trading too. Well, maybe a little up in after hours trading. Kind of even keel across the board, but overall down today. So interesting. I don't think this is going to be good for them long term. I think this is going to hurt the company. I don't think this is good, which may lead to more competition in the space. That would be great, but I don't think this is probably a good thing. Let's go look at his. I think this is the message that was shared with employees. I skimmed it earlier, and it looked like that this was in here. Yeah, okay. To address the second issue of being better set up to invent, collaborate, and be connected enough to each other and our culture to deliver the absolute best for customers and businesses, we've decided that they are going to return to being in office the way that we were before the onset of COVID. When we look back over the last 5 years, we continue to believe that the advantages of being together in the office are significant. I previously explained these benefits. But in summary, we've observed that it's easier for our teammates to learn, model, practice, and strengthen our culture. Collaborating, brainstorming, and inventing are simpler and more effective. Teaching and learning from one another are more seamless, and teams tend to be better connected to one another. If anything, the last 15 months we've been back in the office at least 3 days a week has strengthened our convictions about the benefits. Before the pandemic, not everyone was in office 5 days a week, every week. If you or your child were sick, and if you had some sort of house emergency, you were on the road seeking customers or partners, if you needed a day or two to finish coding, Yeah. People worked remotely. This was understood and will be moving forward as well. But before the pandemic, it was not a given that folks could work remotely 2 days a week. And it will also be true moving forward. Our expectation is that people will be in office outside of extenuating circumstances, like the ones mentioned above, or if you already have a remote work exception approved through your S-Team leader. Okay, so there are exceptions. So there are going to be remote Amazon employees, and I could see managers issuing those quite liberally, especially if they don't agree with this. Although they're going to get dinged by their higher ups if they allow that. So that'll be a thing. So yeah, I think these RTO stuff mandates are especially bad because you saw tons of people leave the city centers during COVID and buy houses out in the country near their family or in their even in their home country, and they relied on working remotely. And now a lot of that is being forced to be they're forced to sell their houses and leave their new home. So, or they're forced to go quit and find another job, which is honestly what I think a lot of these people are going to do. I think this is going to be more ammunition for more people to leave the company. So, I think ultimately it's going to end up with a brain drain. I don't think they're going to have I think they're going to have a hard time hiring in the future because of all this. Because they've broken trust. They've really broken the trust. The employees can't trust that their job will operate the way that they signed up for it to work. Things can change on a whim. So I wouldn't want to work for a company like that. So, all right. Alrighty. If you liked this video, please leave a like or a comment on the video. If you've had an RTO mandate, maybe talk about it below. Indicate what the pros and cons were, what your opinion on this is. I'm pretty generally negative, but I'd love to hear the arguments the other way on why RTO is probably good or why RTO is probably bad. So leave a comment below if you've got that. We record these every Monday on Twitch at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you'd like to be here for the recording of these and offer your comments live, come join us over there. All right. Everybody have a good one. Okay. So there's that one. Okay, we got about 15 minutes, so we need a short one next. Hopefully my voice is going to hold out for this. So, what's next? Maybe an article for the next 15. And then after that, we're going to get somebody on to teach me how to... He's texting me. How to use Laravel. Alrighty. Who is it? Somebody I met on Twitter. Marvelous? Although I don't know what he likes to be called, so we will figure that out when he jumps on. So, but yeah, no, we're gonna play with a new web framework called Laravel. So he's built with it before, so I'm gonna be learning, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Close that. This one's too big, I think, to do right now. I don't think we can easily do that. This one might be doable. Okay. Let's go. Going buildless. Start. Cool. Alrighty. Going buildless. The year is 2005. You're blasting a pirated MP3 of Feel Good Inc. and chugging vanilla Coke while updating your website. I was doing almost all those things back then. Probably a little after 2005. It's just a simple change. So you log on via FTP, edit your style.css file, hit save, and reload the page to see your changes live. Did that story resonate with you? Well, congrats. A, you're a nerd, and B, you're old enough to remember a time before bundlers, pipelines, and build processes. This was before I was a programmer, essentially. I was just kind of like messing around with computers and trying to get websites to work. I did have a few websites I tried to help maintain, and this was what we did. We just uploaded with FileZilla and FTP right into the host, Bluehost. That was one of the hosting providers. A lot of ISPs actually offered hosting back then too, and I remember we logged into a couple of them as well. Now listen, I really don't want to go back to doing live updates in production. That can get painful real fast, but I think it's amazing when the files you see in your code editor are exactly the same as the files you deliver in the browser. No compilation, no node process, no build step, just edit, save, boom. I agree. With this generally. I think that this is probably a really good thing. I do think that minification can be a good thing as well. But I also think, especially in dev and the development environments, like having the same file that you deploy be the same one you edit is a big thing. That said, I really like TypeScript and type safety. So JSDoc looks really interesting to me. I've liked the little I've done with JSDoc, but adding those comments adds a lot of code that's going to be shipped to the browser. So it really is hard. It's like, I want to use this thing, but this is probably the better thing to use. But at the same time, does it really matter? Will those code comments really make a huge difference? I don't know. I'm not sure. So, there's something really satisfying about a buildless workflow. Brad Frost recently wrote about raw dogging websites while developing the very groovy site for Frostapalooza. So, how far are we away from actually working without builds in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? The idea of buildless development isn't new, but there have been more recent improvements that might get us closer. Let's jump in. The obvious trade-off for a buildless workflow is performance. We use bundlers mostly to concatenate files for few network requests and to avoid long dependency chains that cause loading waterfalls. I think it's still worth considering, but take everything here with a grain of performance salt. I think there's also another advantage to being able to cache things a lot easier when they're in smaller chunks and you load exactly the pieces you need on that web page, and you can cache the pieces that don't change and you can hold on to the ones that or change the ones that do. I think the caching benefits there are pretty significant. So I think it's a big trade-off. HTML. The main reason for build process in HTML is composition. We don't want to repeat the markup for things like headers, footers, etc. for every single page, so we need to keep some of these in separate files and stitch them together later. Oddly enough, HTML is the one where native imports are still an unsolved problem. If you want to include a chunk of HTML in another template, your options are limited. PHP or some other preprocessor language. Server-side includes frames. Like I use Golang templates to concatenate together components into templates to render them out, essentially. You need something like that, like whether it's C# or JavaScript, using something like handlebars or EJS or something like that. You need something to template out the HTML. There's no real standardized way to do this in just HTML, but Scott Gill came up with this idea of using iframes and the onload event to essentially achieve HTML imports. I don't know about this. I don't know if this is a good idea. This stop before this content, children 0. This dot remove. So basically this is a swap. This is similar to what HTMX does, which if you haven't checked out HTMX, you should definitely check out HTMX to do some of this stuff, especially on an event. It does all this sort of thing. Andy Bell then repackaged that technique into a neat web component. Oh. To load the embedded SVG, this page includes the following markup. Okay, so yeah, we've got this. So this guy, inline embedded SVG, was loading it into an external file. It loaded pretty quick too, for the most part. I do wonder if loading and like layout shift and all that is an issue with this. So that's my main skepticism doing something like this. For my own buildless experiment, I build a simplified version that replaces itself with fetch content. It can be used like this. HTML include source my local file HTML include. This is really close to like what HTMX does, almost. It's pretty close. That comes pretty close to an actual native HTML imports, or even though it now has a JavaScript dependency. Server-side enhancement. Right, so using web components works, but what if we want to nest elements, fetch a piece of content that in itself contains an HTML include? You can run into a waterfall situation again, and you might see things like layout shift when it loads. This is what your server-side framework will help mitigate. I'm hosting my experiment on Cloudflare's pages, and they offer the ability to write a worker script, very similar to a service worker, to interact with the platform. They're going to use the server-side rendering to render these HTML includes. Interesting. And then stream them to the client. That's interesting as an idea. It's possible to use an HTML rewriter, such as in such a worker, to intercept requests to the CDN and rewrite the response. So I can check if the request is for a piece of HTML, and if so, look for the HTML include element in there. Okay, and then you essentially rewrite new included element handler. You can then define a custom handler for each HTML include element it encounters. I made one that pretty much does the same thing as the web component, but server side. It fetches the content defined in the source attribute and replaces the element with it. I would be interested to see what this looks like in like a Node.js framework or even like Go, though, too. You could do this in whatever. Like, Cloudflare Workers is probably an interesting place to do it, but it's not probably the only place, nor probably the most performant. So it is interesting. It might be interesting to do that somewhere else, maybe. Okay, 2 seconds. I gotta check my DMs real quick. All right. Give us few minutes. All right. Let's get through this pretty quick. This is a common concept known as edge side includes, ESI, used to inject dynamic pieces of dynamic content into an otherwise static or cached response. By using it here, I can get the best of both worlds, a buildless setup in development with no layout shift in production. That's the big thing. Like, avoiding the layout shift, I think, is probably the biggest thing. Cloudflare workers run at the edge, not the client. Oh no, we gotta ban that person. Wesley, ban that floater dude. Get him out of here. We don't want them. Ban him. Cloudflare workers at the run at the edge, not the client, but your site isn't hosted there. It should also be possible to use this approach in a regular service worker. When installed, the service worker could rewrite responses to stitch HTML imports into the content. Maybe you could even cache pieces of HTML locally once they've been fetched. I don't know enough about service worker architecture to do this, but maybe someone else wants to give it a shot. Okay. So that's HTML. CSS. Historically, we've used CSS preprocessors or build pipelines to do a few things the language couldn't do. Variables, selector nesting, vendor prefixing, and bundling. Well, good news, we now have a native support for variables and nesting, and prefixing is not really necessary anymore in evergreen browsers, except for a few properties. That leaves us with bundling again. CSS has import support for a long time. It's trivial to include style sheets from in other style sheets. It's just really frowned upon. It guarantees that you have a waterfall effect when you do such a thing. Why? Damn performance waterfalls again. Nested levels of import statements in a render blocking style sheet give web developers creeps, and for good reason. What if we had a flat file structure? If you had just one level of imports, wouldn't HTTP2 multiplexing take care of that? Loading all these files in parallel? Chris, not everything runs on HTTP2. That's the problem. Most of the web's still running on HTTP1. Chris Ferdinandi ran some benchmark tests on precisely that, and the numbers don't look so bad. So maybe we could link up a main style sheet that contains the top level imports of smaller files split by concern. We could even use that approach to automatically assign cascade layers to them, like so. Alright, so you have the import, layer, default, layout, components, utils, theme. Interesting. Design tokens. Love your atomic styles? Instead of Tailwind, you can use something like OpenProps to include a set of ready-made design tokens without a build step. They'll be available in all other files as CSS variables. You can do that same thing with Tailwind too, I think. You don't need to build. It's just better to build with Tailwind. How do OpenProps avoid that issue? You can pick and choose what you need. Or use all of them at once. Oh, and then you just import what you need. Okay. That's probably a good idea. I wish I could do that with like Tailwind. That would be cool. JavaScript is one where a build step usually does the most work, like transpiling, type checking, compiling JSS, minification, building again. The build workflow can never replace all of that, but it may not have to. Transpiling, for example, is not necessary anymore in modern browsers. Yep, most browsers, IE is dead. You don't have to compile to IE anymore. Don't do it. It's not a thing. Don't support IE anymore. As for building, ES modules come with built-in composition systems, so any browser that understands module syntax, i.e., in example this, allows you to import other modules and even lazy load them dynamically. Yep, you can use the import keyword. The newest addition to the module system are import maps, which essentially allow you to define a JSON schema that maps dependency names into a source location. That location can be an internal path or an external CDN like unpkg. Yeah, this is pretty cool. This is pretty useful. It's like a global place to define your exact version of everything, so you don't have to worry about like it's an alias essentially. It's like it's like your package JSON for the web. So I think it's pretty cool. Any JavaScript on the page can then access these dependencies as if they were bundled with it using the standard syntax. Import render from Preact. So can we ditch all our build tools soon? Probably not. I'd say for production grade development, we're not there quite yet. Performance trade-offs are a big part of it, but there are other small parts or other small problems that you'd likely run into pretty soon once you hit a certain level of complexity. For smaller sites or side projects, though, I can imagine going through the build list route just to see how far I can take it. Funnily enough, many build tools advertise their superior DX. For my money, there's no better DX than shipping code straight to the browser and not having to worry about some cryptic node modules error in between. I'd love to see a future where we get that simplicity back. Hey there, Freedomo. Hi. Dumdow. Oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Hello, hello. Just in time for the end of the article. So I think going buildless, I think this is a good thing. I think this simplifies software stacks. I think it's a really good thing to get rid of your build steps. I don't think that it's good to have all sorts of these build steps. You're compiling an interpreted language. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. Like, you shouldn't need to do that. And some of this comes down to JavaScript design decisions. But I really think that ultimately the future is probably type safe with types as comments, TSC to check the errors on at edit time, really, and module imports to import things dynamically on the web, and that's that. I think that's the future we really want. I think that's the future we need. So hopefully we'll get to that. But if you like this article, please leave a comment in the video or like the video. We record these every Monday over on Twitch at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you'd like to be here and comment on it, you can join us over there. So, all right. Everybody have a good one. Alrighty. So there's one. Marker. Yeah, I give followers. I'm a coder, you see, but I code for myself, but I make quantum simulators and AI. One I made today, App Spot Finder for camping, because I might go camping. Nice. I like the new OpenAI models. That's what I was browsing by. We did not get to that article. That was unfortunately our last article today. That one's going to be bigger, so I want to give it more time to do it justice. But yeah, I do want to take a look and make a video about the new OpenAI models, because I think there's some interesting things there as far as like chain of thought and how those models work. So yeah, thank you for following. You'll probably get to see the video get made. If not in the next couple days, in next week. But yeah, I really do appreciate that follow. So thank you again. Oh, thank you too. Karuto. Thank you for the follow as well. I appreciate it. So I think we're going to transition into learning about Laravel. So I had a generous person on X, on Twitter, who offered to teach me Laravel, and I've installed the framework, and we're gonna get started with that. So yeah, I think we're gonna make sure Marvelous is there. Let's see here. Let's get him on. Okay. So we got to get audio and stuff set up. This is the first time I've done this, so let's give this a shot here. I'm gonna call. How do I call? Oh my gosh. Call. There we go. Actually, let's double check. I gotta double check my audio settings real quick before I. Devices. Okay. They moved it. There we go. Voice and video. Input device. Output device. Perfect. Okay. Cool. Let's go call. Let's do this. Hello. I can hear you. Let's go. Let's let the stream hear you. Let's unmute that. Go ahead and talk. Testing
Oh, no,
one, two.
let's tune back on YouTube and see what's happening.
Here we go.
Go ahead and talk. Can you hear me?
Oh boy, there's an echo. Let me. Yeah. You get no audio from me on Discord? Let me go double check. It happens. It's not a big deal. Can you hear me now? Discord sees my audio, so I can see my audio there. Testing 1, 2, 3. No, turn noise suppression off. Testing. Yeah. Yeah, Discord here's my audio. You show is muted in my call. I figured there were going to be. Ah. So you can't hear me through Discord. Let me restart Discord real quick. We'll give that a shot. So disconnect. I gotta change my monitor input here real quick so I can see myself. Do. I love audio and video. It works so well all the time. Quit Discord. I should probably pay for ping. It's built for this sort of stuff. So let's double check that our devices look good. Microphone is definitely set to USB audio codec. When I run the mic test, I can hear myself. Yep. It is. It sounds good. Output is good. Let's try to call again. All right. Can you hear me now? Yeah, it might be a good idea. Can you double check your audio output in Discord? I can hear you just fine in Discord. You get audio from Discord? Hmm. How about if I disable streamer mode? Am I good now? Hmm. Do you have Google Meet? Do you have a Gmail account? Yeah, let's do that. I'll send you a link on Discord, and then you can hop into a call. Perfect. I'll see you on the other side. Okay. Impromptu new meeting. Start an instant meeting. Okay. Yes. Allow it to go to my microphone. All right. Got it. Copy this. Paste that. All right. Hey. You can hear me now? Perfect. The audio quality is not quite as good, but I'm happy with it. If you can hear me, I'm happy. Yeah, yeah. There's a reason I stream from Windows. So I I have my stream computer piped into or my Linux machine piped into my stream computer through a capture card. So it's just the best setup right now. I don't want to deal with Linux audio. It doesn't behave itself for me. So oh oh not quite yet. Okay, talk now. Nope, nope. 2 seconds. I'm gonna have to probably add you as like an input in OBS now. Da, 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 da. It saw Discord okay. So application audio capture. I am just gonna say this is the first time I've done this, so I figured it was gonna be
Yeah,
interesting.
happens.
Oh, go ahead and
Not
say something.
not the best audio quality on YouTube, but yeah, it works.
There we go. I see you in the Twitch or in the OBS mixer now, so I think they can hear you.
Yep.
Wesley,
I was checking on YouTube Live. They probably can't hear me.
yeah, Wesley, he's my moderator. Can you hear me all right? Can you hear all right, Wesley?
You gotta
Okay.
share. I think you have to share your screen because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me actually switch back to my other computer, and then I can do the because whatever you're gonna see on stream is gonna be delayed, so
Yes.
we don't want that. Share windowed projector source. Wow. All right. Let me know if you can see that.
Yep, I can see your screen.
Perfect. Alrighty. So, I guess because I might make a video out of this, why don't you let everybody know who you are and what you do and what?
Oh,
Yeah.
hey everyone, my name is Marvelous, and I'm a Laravel developer for like 4 years now. I've been programming for 7 years, which is quite a lot considering that I'm like 20 years old.
Nice.
I'm
Nice.
still
You started
20, getting
early.
like 13, and I like stuck with it.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, Laravel
it's
is helping me to pay my tuition, which is a big,
really
yeah.
nice. That's cool. That's cool. Is it through like a scholarship or through
Oh
like
no, no. I have a dev job.
oh, nice. Nice. So,
Yeah,
cool. Cool.
yeah.
Alrighty. So I guess we can get started. So I installed PHP earlier. It's PHP 8.3, I believe, which was the
Yes.
I think the latest stable. And I got Composer installed, and I did set up a test Laravel project and got it to start. So that's about
So
as far as I got.
would you like to like learn, or would you like to like learn the framework, or would you like to learn by building a project?
I'd kind of like to learn by maybe like building something small. And I kind of wanted to maybe like lean on your expertise a little bit as to like what we could
Yeah.
probably build. I'm cool with like an API project. I'm cool with like a to-do app. Anything that
We,
makes sense here. So
we could go with Laravel and Livewire. That's like
that's the
the,
that's the hotness right now.
yes, that's the hotness. Oh, I we could also, I mean, if you want to, I have a project like a Shad CN style project. It's called Artisan UI. I'm just gonna paste it. If you want to, we could probably use that, but I don't think so because it's still like in, it hasn't been released yet. It's still like in pre-release, but
Gotcha.
kind of like Flux and Shad CN.
Okay. Okay. We could probably use that. Oh my gosh. Technical issues are. Did my
And it's,
cap card die?
oh no.
Like everything's frozen. 2 seconds.
Yeah, take your time. You there? Seems to be working on stream. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, yes, I can. What is? Alrighty.
Wesley, can you hear me now? I see my audio input now. Perfect. Okay, we're good to go. I think we're good to go.
All right, let's start. Now we can finally start.
Yep.
All right. So I think we're going to do this in two ways. We're going to set up an app without writing any code, which is I've seen that like a couple of places, and then maybe we'll go through like the Laravel directory structure
Okay.
to know what everything, to know what things do.
Yeah, that'd be
So,
great.
all right, you can. I think you can go to the create a new project by saying composer new. I can't write a command. I wouldn't lie. I think it's like new project or something.
Yeah, I think it's over
It's on the
here in the
it's on the
docs.
docs.
Yeah. You only use it once in a blue moon, so
Yeah, it's like new project.
I think it's I saw it earlier today.
Getting started. Creating a new Laravel
there we go.
project. Yes.
This guy.
Composer create project. Yeah, that
This one. Do. Perfect. Okay, and then what do we want to call it? Does it matter? Do you care?
maybe we could do like a simple CRUD app, like a blog, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
Or
Simple
just
blog.
want to do a to do.
We
That
could-
makes no sense.
My fabulous to
Project.
Yeah, we'll just say project.
We haven't decided what this
Nope.
project is going to be.
We'll just say it'll be a combined to do and blog app. This will be innovative. It'll be really, really revolutionary.
Or to do for managing blogs.
Yeah, something like that. Alrighty. So it took a minute to think before for this. So
Yeah, I don't know why this takes time on your computer. That is weird. Ooh, that is interesting.
there's
I've
nothing.
never seen. How's the internet like there? Okay, that's better.
Yeah. I get about 80 megabit down. I don't have the best internet, but it is fiber, so
Okay. So we could start by adding auth. So in Laravel world, we have like lots of auth options depending on what you want to do. So we have my favorite is Jetstream because it comes with a bunch of stuff like two-factor authentication and Teams.
just
So if you go to
all built
yeah.
in.
all built in, it blows my mind every time. So if you go to like the Laravel docs, you can go to the packages and Jetstream.
Okay, packages, Jetstream there.
Yep. And that is, I didn't know they it's a. So we have two options. Jetstream is like batteries included, everything with Teams, and they even give us some components for free, so we could use that for now. So you could start with the Livewire plus Blade version of Jetstream. So you can go to installation and copy the installation command, which would just be composer. So those three.
So this one right here, we did the one
Yes.
above
Yes,
already.
we've done that already. You might have to CD into the example app.
Yep.
It's weird when I'm saying it. I typically just like type without thinking.
Or copy paste, right?
Yeah, copy paste. It's weird thinking about it. It's a different.
different
feels different.
perspective.
Yes. So Jetstream is we also have the headless version of Jetstream, which is like Fortify. That is what is actually powering all this. So it's if you want to like build your own views and all that, you use Fortify. So It
Okay.
comes with, can I remember correctly? It comes with a bunch of stuff. It's a lot.
Okay.
Like Laravel is like a batteries included framework, opinionated but configurable. So it gives you a lot out of the box. Like you get teams, you get email reset, you get email password reset. Sorry, you get email verification and a bunch of stuff that the framework does. So some
That's
other things. What?
Oh, that's pretty crazy. I'm normally so I've done quite a bit in like the C sharp world and the Go world. And C sharp
Ooh.
has some of those batteries included nature, but like you don't get like password reset stuff with it. You maybe
Oh,
get like integration with like Azure AD or like OAuth providers or something, but like
uh,
you're still implementing like email flows and stuff like that yourself for the most part. So that's pretty cool that Laravel includes all that.
oh, this is Livewire. Laravel includes a whole lot more. Laravel includes caching and date eloquent ORM, which is a really nice ORM,
Hmm.
and Laravel also includes like rate limiters and process facade. Like we do things with facades. So the Laravel docs, if you go to digging deeper in the Laravel docs, see like a bunch of stuff that it does. It's a lot. Laravel is a crazy framework. And then the first party packages like Socialite helps like you can add like any social login with Socialite. So Discord, GitHub, you don't need to think about that. You can run your own OAuth like OAuth server, like authentication server,
Hmm.
which I actually did in my first job
Nice.
with Laravel Passport. I knew nothing about OAuth.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
I knew absolutely nothing about OAuth, but I just like used Laravel Passport, and oh, I got an OAuth server now, and
Nice.
we had it was a weird application where we had to we had like three applications that had to like one user base, three applications that had to talk to each other with like just it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird application, but it worked.
I remember at work we still have it barely around, but it still exists. But we did our own OAuth server, and it's
Oh
like
god.
.NET identity server. And it was wonderful because it was like a product that was open source, but going paid. So anytime you asked the dev anything on like GitHub issues or something, or needed something fixed, he was like, "Oh, that'll require an enterprise subscription."
Oh,
So we were just like, we can't afford your enterprise subscription. So it was just like, it was a nightmare. And it was all opaque and it was hard to debug and it was crazy. But we got it to work. It's just a painful journey.
all right. So I think we should finish setting Jetstream up, and then we'll
Yep.
talk about application structure.
Yep. Yep. So what do I need to do now?
You need to go copy paste more commands.
Sounds good. Uh,
We are installing the live web. Do you want it with Teams? Let's go crazy and add Teams.
so
Let's
this
just go crazy.
this one?
Yes, that one.
Okay.
Then we could. I think the next command is always migrate. If I remember correctly. Yep. Oh no. Yes, it
Inertia.
is. Yeah,
Oh,
it comes. Do you know what inertia is?
no, I don't. I'm a noob,
So,
so
so inertia is like an API. I wouldn't call it an. It's just like Livewire. Oh God, I don't want to lie. It helps with like gluing the backend and the front end of like an SPA and Laravel or anything. So like they have inertial adapters for every modern framework, and they have the inertial backend adapters. So it's like you don't you just I really haven't worked that much with inertia, but it's just I don't know how to explain it, but it's by what I've heard, it's really good, and I should try it sometime. But
Is it like the piece where it can handle like partial SSR, like rendering of like other like SPA frameworks? So like for example like React server components where you're taking part of the page and rendering it on the server, and then just
I think
changing that
Inertia
part.
does that. I'm not sure Inertia does. I don't want to lie. I gotta
Okay.
check. I don't, I'm more of a Livewire person,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
either I use pure view and something, maybe like an API or like Livewire, but both my jobs require Livewire, so I'm more of a Livewire person.
Yeah.
I've gotten so good at Livewire that it's crazy.
I've heard that that's the kind of the way to go. Like it's more like the HTMX sort of a route where
Yes,
you can swap out
yes,
parts of the page and handle forms and stuff like that. So
yeah. Writing with Livewire is so easy. So it just feels like you're writing PHP code and then it just works. Then sometimes like we drop in Alpine JS. Well, because Livewire already includes Alpine JS. So for front end reactivity, we use Alpine
okay.
and Livewire. So it's like we you tend to build crazy stuff. You could do I have any? No, I don't. No, everything I like what I'm working on currently is behind an NDA, so I can show this as an
Yeah.
example. But if you can go to I think the only Livewire project. No, I have two, but you can go to x-aui.com. So that's the UI library that I'm building.com.
So the artisan UI.
So, and this was built with Livewire. Well, it was built in an interesting way, but it was built with Livewire.
It's a nice looking doc site. I like it.
Yeah. It's meant to mimic ShadCN.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So and it has this SPA feel.
Yeah.
Is awesome
It's
with
doing
wire navigation.
it's doing the same sort of stuff as HTMX, isn't it? It's like swapping out just the parts that need to be updated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it makes it feel like a spa, but it's SSR. It works like anything else, and it's all indexable by Google too, right?
Yes. And that, my friend, you know Livewire now.
Cool, cool.
we're gonna get into that, and you see why everyone loves Livewire.
Yeah.
Or install with inertia. So we've done that. We've done all this. So we have to go to the next command. Uh,
Do we need? We don't need inertia, right?
no, we are using Livewire. So,
Okay.
oh no, we forgot to get dark mode, but that's fine.
I've got Dark Reader. It's fine.
It's fine. I like this is one of the things that I stumble across, and I run that command at first, and it pisses me off, and oh no, there's no dark mode.
You can't add it after the fact easily.
You gotta get rid of all like the files that it added.
Oh.
Oh jeez. But it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think we don't need dark mode. We don't need to support dark mode yet. So
No.
now we will just run npm install, npm run build, and migrate.
Okay. And
So
migrate runs the DB migrations in SQLite, correct?
Yes.
Oh, it's asking me if I want to run the.
Yeah, you can. Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Thank Jet Partner for that. Laravel prompts. You can build like CLI apps, like pretty CLI apps with Laravel prompts.
It seems fast too. Like I'm kind of surprised at like the speed of the CLIs. Like Node feels a lot slower sometimes.
Ooh. So our CLI tool is PHP Artisan Inspire, so you can try typing that for like code. So we do everything with PHP Artisan. So PHP space Artisan. and you get a bunch of commands, which also, this is another really nice part of Laravel. You get a bunch of stuff for, it's a lot.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Just all
Get
out
a
of the
lot.
box.
All out of the box.
Oh,
Oh, what?
is that docs offline docs?
Yeah, I think there are docs offline. There are offline docs.
That's sweet. Cool.
So it gives you everything. So, and that's why Laravel is always trending.
Yep.
It's like,
Everybody I've heard says they love it. So,
oh, it's so good.
alrighty.
So,
What's our next step?
so you run the npm install and run build?
Yep.
So now I think, are you running? I think we need to. So are you using like herd, or are you just running like locally?
I'm just running locally right now.
So you need to like run PHP artisan serve. I typically I'll put an and behind it to run it as a background process.
What I can actually do is I'm in Tmux, so what I can do is I can do this, and then so we can open the editor, and then we can open it in the background. And then PHP artisan serve. And then so we can go click on that. And then, or we can just do this. And
Congrats.
It's alive.
You can register. Let's get an account.
Sweet. Okay. So Ben, I'm gonna blank out because I don't want to show my email on stream.
You can just use test.example. That's what everyone does.
Okay. Okay.
Test.example.com.
I think my autocomplete just doxed me, so that's neat.
I didn't see anything. Password. Only makes sense to use password as a password.
I use a password manager now, so I never type this out. There we go. Register. Oh, they don't match. This is why I like password managers.
Yeah, I do a lot of this when I'm at work, and it's, oh geez.
Yeah, what the heck? Save the entry. Oh no, let's not do this right now. Let's not do that right now. There we go. Okay. Sweet.
So you get get a mini dashboard. Okay. I think your screen isn't I can't see the entirety of your screen.
You can't see the whole thing?
I think you gotta pin the tab. It's being cut off at the side. Is that like the Ben's team and Ben something? It's being cut off.
Let me try. Let me treat.
No, sorry, that's me. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
What the hell is Firefox doing? What? That's interesting. That is me.
Weird.
Oh wait, is it my Firefox that's not pinned? That's weird. That's so weird. I'm using the picture in what's it called? I can't remember. The picture mode where like you escape the video, you move the video. Full screen.
Yeah.
I'm using full screen mode. It's off.
It's
for
like
some reason.
lopping off part of it.
Yes.
Weird.
That's so weird. Let's try taking this down, and no, it's too well. That's beside the point. So you get you get everything here. Profile management. You don't need to. No, you don't need to zoom in. That makes it weird. You get profile management. So if you go to Ben at the top, you can like manage your profile, which is nice. You get
Cool.
two-factor authentication.
Reset my password.
Oh
Cool.
yeah, you get session management also.
Sweet. Sweet.
Uh,
And then there's team management. So is that like you can have like multiple like people grouped together essentially?
Yes. Yes. It's either you use Jets. I've never really used Jetstream's built-in because I just haven't I just like have I've just built things that don't require teams. I've mostly built like applications with like backends and admins, well, and maybe like restaurants. Like it's never just easy. You never just get to do teams.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's nice for like like maybe like for example like Canva or maybe like Flux, for example. It's
Yeah.
just convenient.
Yeah. This is
So
sweet that you get all this stuff out of box. This is kind of mind blowing, honestly.
you get more. That's what I love about Laravel. You get everything out of the box. Like at this point, I'm more of like sometimes I'm like, am I a programmer or do I just glue Laravel things to other Laravel things?
Laravel plumbing.
Yeah.
I mean, plumbers make good money, man.
I'm paying tuition with Laravel, so I'm not gonna complain.
Awesome.
Okay, so now maybe we should talk about the application structure before we try building something.
Yeah.
The directory structure and how things work. So um we could use the Laravel docs, so they have like an explanation of the directory because people always say it's a lot. Yes, it's a lot, and I don't think I care. I don't care about a lot of directories. And like you see Twitter arguments, oh, Laravel has a lot of directories. I'm like, I don't care.
It's not that bad.
It's not. Hey, yo, bro, I don't care about your you criticizing my directories.
Not when you get
Just
so much for free. Like
exact. You should just the look at the packages like Breeze is a authentication framework. Cashier Breeze is the simpler like authentication. It it publishes the views. I can't. What's the difference? Oh yeah, Breeze publishes most of the code for it's not bad. Breeze is just simple. I should say it that
gotcha.
way. Breeze is simple. You
Gotcha.
get a lot. You get a lot for free. All the packages. Cashier is for managing Stripe, like payment processes like Stripe, Paddle. You go to packages. Dusk is for APIs. Envoy is like how do I explain Envoy? Like is it a scheduler? Not something. So this is
It's
for oh sorry, Dusk is the browser automation. Yeah, browser
it's like
automation and API. Yeah.
this is like Selenium or
Yeah,
Puppeteer.
I think it uses Selenium under the hood.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
you can swap it out if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha. That's neat.
So Envoy is it's a lot. Envoy is for like defining tasks, not scheduler tasks.
Okay.
Fortify is Fortify is uh Fortify is what Jetstream uses under the hood. So it's like the headless version of everything you just saw. So our
Okay.
Jetstream just creates like views for it. Is that Folio? Folio is for file-based routing in yeah, that's Folio, right? File-based routing in it like geez, I'm sorry. It's for file-based routing in Livewire. I was trying to remember the name. I did not prepare for this.
Oh, it's completely fine. Like I'm figuring this out as I go. So
So it's just a lot. And Homestead, Horizon, Jetstream, Mix, Octane, everything is being handled for you, but you can configure everything. You can choose to not use anything. So that's what I love about Livewire. It's opinionated, but it doesn't get in your way most times when you want to do something custom. So you can just write pure SQL. You don't need to use. You can write pure SQL. You can just use the DB facade. So it's just like a wrapper for pure. It's not an ORM. It's just like a SQL wrapper, or you could use Eloquent
Nice.
itself. So
That's
it's a
that's kind of what I usually prefer. So like normally there's a thing in C# called Dapper, and what it lets you
okay.
do is like just it's just an object mapper. So you write your own SQL and then it spits out objects essentially that you can use in your code. So that's usually what I go for, but I'm willing to try the ORM too here. So
Yeah, Eloquent is awesome. I think you'd like it. I mean, you can always do DB raw, but for most of my use case, I just go with Eloquent. I mean, that's why I suck at SQL.
see, I just got fed up with EF Core on the C# side. It was just way too complex, and it was like just give me SQL. Just give me the raw database. I'll just do what I need to do. Just get out of my
Oh,
way. So
I don't think you'd have that problem. Okay, so let's go through the directory structure. So if you can scroll up the menu and
yeah.
in the architecture concepts
Okay.
and no, sorry, getting started. It's looking for the directory structure.
This guy.
Yeah. So the app directory is where most of your code would live, like controllers and events, and well, I do services and modules and notifications. So yeah, Laravel comes with notification. Um, so all that stuff. So the app directory is where most of your code goes.
Okay.
You can click, yeah, it explains it, so you can like click it. The app directory contains like most of everything. The Bootstrap directory contains the file that bootstraps the entire framework and all that. The config directory contains all your config files. So I think that makes sense. The database directory contains your factories, your seeders,
Okay.
and
Your
your
migrations.
your migrations.
Okay.
The public directory contains your public files, so just the index.php, maybe public assets. It also contains like a symlink to like local. If you're looking like local storage, also like there is a symlink for local for like public stored public items, and like the public there is a symlink there from storage to the public directory, so you
Okay.
can like store things and access it through that symlink, or you can also use S3.
Okay. Yep.
The resources directory is where most of your front end goes, your CSS, JS assets. The routes directory is where your routes go. So there are typically, I think every Laravel app has the web.php for web routes, the console.php for CLI routes. Yeah, closure-based console commands rather. I just call
Interesting.
it CLI routes.
Interesting.
There's also an API.php for API routes. And remember, you can configure this the way you want, because typically in most projects I ever do, we never use because we just have so much routes that we like choose to group them, maybe like API v1, or you can change all this. It's not set in stone.
Okay. Cool. These are just the defaults.
Yes, these are just the defaults.
Cool.
And we have the channels.php, which is for broadcasting. Oh, that was so Laravel also makes like it makes like WebSockets easy.
Interesting. Okay. So how
Yeah.
does that work like when you like start scaling too? Do you need to like pull in like Redis or something when you start like having multiple replicas of your server? Or does it just handle that?
Is it the WebSockets? Are we talking about WebSockets or
Yeah.
Laravel?
Yeah.
I
So
mean, um, what some people do is that like, they have like a WebSocket server, and when it comes to scale, what I hear people say is well, most people just still go with monoliths and try speeding up their application with like things like Laravel Octane, or
Okay.
they try making the Laravel like, okay, we have Redis for caching, and we have the database it's not on server, and we use S3, so they try making Laravel itself stateless.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
So we have the storage directory, and that's for like things like logs and files that you want to store in there, and other things, the like app cache, like the local cache and all that. Then the test directory. Oh yeah, we can do tests with PHP unit or test. And I
Nice.
haven't used pest before, but I've seen pest code and I've heard that it's really nice. I've done a lot of PHP units because that's like what every of my like that's what every job I've had used.
Is that like the old guard sort of a thing? Like PHP unit
Yes.
is the older one,
I
and
mean pest is built on PHP units. It's more like I don't want to lie again, but I think it's like a wrapper.
it's like an
I don't want
abstraction layer, sort of a
yeah.
thing on top of PHP.
I don't want Nuno to kill me, so I'm not gonna say that. So now the app directory is like I said where most of our code goes. So the docs also explains. Oh yeah, we have the vendor directory that contains all our composer packages.
Okay, cool. It does. Out of curiosity, dumb newbie question. Does the vendor
Yeah.
directory get committed to source control, or does that
No,
get dropped in the git ignore?
it's in the git ignore. So it's
Okay,
like node modules. Just
cool.
think of it like the PHP node modules.
Okay, cool.
So the app directory comes with a bunch of stuff. So the broadcasting directory is for things like WebSockets and broadcasting channels. You can create broadcasting channels, and you probably not see it in the new like they had Laravel 11 had like a major overhaul. So they tried getting rid of a bunch of default stuff, like a bunch of directories, and the directories get created by default. Like sorry, it doesn't get created by default. So like the broadcasting directory, you'll probably not see it until you run like a make channel command. Could you scroll up? So,
Scroll back up, or a little
oh
more.
no, like down, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
down.
Yep.
The console directory is also for like console commands. So you can write your own artisan commands by running the make command.
Okay.
The events directory is for events. And what I like about these are like they just work together so well. So I might want to like run an event. Okay, just let me give an instance. My last job we built a food delivery app, and I want to create an event. I created an event that like notifies via WebSockets and also notifies via maybe email. And like Laravel just makes this so easy.
Nice.
But you can just like you can just say, okay, dispatch this with this. Well, it gives you custom names, or sometimes that like change the names of the like dispatched events. So I'm like, okay, this goes out to the this goes out to the front end. This goes out as an email. Maybe if you want, you can drop the notification class in and have it even like go out to Slack and maybe anything the notification facade supports. So like Laravel
Nice.
notifications, you can also store it in the database, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. That
So
sounds nice to have an abstraction over that. So
yeah,
the
it's so good.
yeah, that's great for like orders and things that you need to know about that are coming out of your domain code. So yeah.
So you know what the exceptions directory is? The HTTP directory is like the directory that contains most of like the controllers and anything request related. The listeners, am I going too fast?
No, 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 no. You're good. You're good. You're good. It
Okay.
makes sense.
I'm like, am I going too fast? The jobs directory contains like you we have queues or just we have queuable jobs and maybe just regular jobs.
Okay. Does it put those in the database, or are they kept in memory, or how does that work?
And so it depends on your queue. I think by default it's the database, but most of these things, maybe we'll also take a look at the env to see what you can change and maybe more config because not everything is in the env. But you
Okay.
can choose a queue driver, just like how you can choose a mail driver.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
So
you can use Redis.
you could use Service Bus or SNS or whatever you want.
Yes,
Nice.
yes. So the listeners directory is for so like what Laravel likes doing is that they create like an API for they create like an interface like for the notification interface. But that interface you can have multiple implementations of that interface. Maybe like for email or even storage. We have local storage. You can also configure it to use S3, for example, or maybe like the database. You can Postgres or SQLite or some other obscure database. So that's what Laravel does for you. It's just like a unified API for all these things. You can just swap. You can just change your env and what you've changed what driver like Laravel is using.
Yeah. So you can interface with all those things kind of the same way. If you know how to use
Yeah.
one, you know how to use most of them.
Yes. So we've got the module. Oh, sorry. The listeners directory contains event listeners. The mail directory contains mails. The models directory contains, well, eloquent model classes.
So that's the ORM.
Yes.
Gotcha.
The notifications directory contains notification classes. The policies directory. So Laravel also comes with like policies. Like we have authorization authentication and authorization. So the policies helps us like write. You can write policy files for like controllers.
Okay.
So you can dictate who can do what, mostly with like admins and all that stuff.
So it's just like how the roles, it's basically how security roles are, how they work, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You can also the we have the providers directory. So the providers directory contains all of the service providers for our application. So the service providers are like Laravel's magic DI box.
Okay.
Oh, it helps you bind services in the service container, registering events, or just like I don't know how to. It's just I don't know how to explain the service providers, but it makes sense in my head, but I really don't know how to explain them.
Is it like a pluggable, like you can plug in other services that don't fit into necessarily those areas essentially, or is
I
it?
typically use it for dependency injection or like
Oh,
this is
okay.
dependency injection or like registering something during boot or
Is it like
like you use it for a bunch of stuff.
is it like where you put your business logic, or you can put
No, no,
common business logic? Okay.
no, we don't put business logic. How do I explain this? It's not something we need to worry about now.
Okay.
That's what I'll
It's a
say.
more
Yeah.
advanced topic.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
I just call it my magic DI box, my dependency injection box. Then we have the rules for validation rules, uh, for like default validation rules, so you can create your own. But Laravel comes with a bunch out of the box, as usual.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think we should start from our dear route file. Maybe we'll create a new route, or let's go through the request lifecycle. Maybe.
Yeah, that might be good.
So it's under architectural concepts and request lifecycle. the request starts from the index.php and in public. It starts from the index.php in public.
Okay.
So we have to point our servers to that file at all times.
Okay.
We don't point. So that's the like. Oh, geez, sorry, my Firefox is acting up. Okay, that's fine. That's better. So after the index.php, the index.php calls the bootstrap like file. So it calls the remember if you remember the bootstrap like folder, it's for like setting up the application. It's for setting up like bootstrapping the framework.
Mm.
So, like we set up the framework.
It's like your main.js file in your like front end app, or it's your main.go file in a Go app. Like it's the entry point, essentially.
Yes, yes. So index.php is our entry point, and then bootstraps the framework. So then we've got the kernels. So if you scroll to the incoming request is sent to the either HTTP or console kernel. So depending on what type of request this is. So if it's like an artisan command, it's well, I'm lying, sorry. Artisan commands first go through the artisan directory. Sorry, the artisan file, like I think the artisan file bootstraps. I have to check that. Most of these things I don't worry myself about, except I have something that involves like that.
Mm-hmm.
Something that involves the kernel, or maybe I need to add some like maybe I need to change something, or I need to add some middlewares or all that.
Mm.
But most of this you don't need to worry about because this is more Laravel stuff. This is stuff that, well, I'm technically a Livewire engineer at work right now, so I can't remember most of these. That makes sense.
They're
I
like
was,
under the hood, like implementation details that you don't have to touch, essentially.
yeah, I mean, you would touch the kernel files sometimes here and there, but yeah, it's just choosing what type of request this is. So is this a web request, or is this an HTTP request rather, or is this a console request, or is this like a broadcast request or something like that? So
It depends on the different mode of transportation that the request is coming in via, right? Is
yes,
that what I'm getting?
yes. So
Okay.
this, so if it's the HTTP kernel, it gives us the CSRF token and the HTTP session, well, verifying the CSRF token rather, and giving us like the HTTP session, well, reading and writing the HTTP session. Then we get to the service providers again. So the service providers like boot and app, like okay, I think I can give some examples. Well, we sometimes put some things like there. We have the route service providers for managing our route files. One of the most important kernel bootstrapping actions is loading the service providers for your application. They are responsible for bootstrapping all of the. Oh, okay, yes, I think that's the best way to say this. So, like different parts of the application are being
Mm.
loaded through the service provider, like auth or routes or all that.
So
So for
it's like a
yeah,
module loader, essentially. Like it's
yes,
loading different
and
modules of the application and not the ones you don't need.
yes, and like like dependency injection, like I said, can also happen there,
Okay.
which is nice.
Yeah.
So then we have routing. So routing happens. We check, okay, what route does this actually belong to? And then we maybe after the route, we pass from the route calls a controller or an action or something, or rather, my bad, a controller, or like maybe it's a livewire route that like loads a full page livewire application, livewire component.
Mm.
So that's that. Then it's finished. So when the request is done, it just sends a response. And um, well, if you're using Octane, it doesn't get rid of the framework, or it just like maybe calls the jobs that need to finish and all that. It just does what Laravel does at the end of requests.
And cleans things up essentially and then
Yeah.
ships off the response.
Yes.
Okay.
So well, we don't need to do much on service providers now. Maybe we'll just jump into code.
Yeah.
That's what everyone came for.
Yep.
So we will start by creating maybe like an example, a full page livewire component.
Okay.
So we will run PHP artisan make livewire.
And colon livewire
Yes, make colon livewire.
like this.
And then, yes, and maybe put a space. And I still don't know what we are building. That's my problem. Like a to-do app.
Sure. We'll do the quintessential to do app. Like that might as well be the at least to start, right? So
Okay.
so the name of this is the Livewire component or the page.
Well, we can have full page livewire components, but in this case, you can just call it to do.
Okay.
We don't really care about how we are structuring things now.
Okay.
So yeah, you can hit enter. Do you want to make this an inline? I typically do no, but you can make it inline if you want it all in one place.
What's the difference? Out of
So
curiosity.
in Livewire comes with two files. One for like the Blade file. So Blade is like our templating engine, and
Okay.
the Livewire file. So Livewire file is like a PHP file. It's a PHP class file that allows us to write like methods, or like we can write backend methods, and we can listen for events in the front end and all that. So it's for writing backend code. We mount, we render, and we can also like write methods that we can call from the front end. So
Okay.
or if you don't want to do that, you can also include like the HTML or the blade in the PHP file, but I prefer the separation of concern.
Okay.
So we'll just do no for now.
Okay.
Maybe we want to create a test file.
Really? It's gonna create a test file for me.
Do you plan on writing tests?
No, not really. But that's
Okay.
cool.
Not today. I'm sorry, Beck.
All
So
right.
we've created our first Livewire component and it's in Livewire/to-do. So you can see that it's in the views directory.
Yep. Yep.
Our views we can have Blade views and Blade components and maybe email views and all that stuff. So
Okay.
we can go back and include this. We can go back and include this view in our code. Maybe
Okay.
we'll create a new. We can create a new route in the route file.
That was in routes. Here we go. Okay.
And web.php.
Okay.
And you can see that we have two routes actually. We have the route get the slash, and we have the dashboard route.
Okay.
So and you can see that we can register middleware. So we want these middlewares to run before, like we want for this route, we want the person to be authenticated, maybe if through Sanctum or like web. Sanctum is the API, so you want them to be authenticated both web and API. You want the person to, what is the config jetstream auth session? Oh, it's something with jetstream. And then we want the person to have verified email.
Okay. So these are defining your like authorization parameters essentially.
I would say more like middleware. So these
Okay.
things run before the person can like access
Okay.
the route. So yeah.
So it's more than just authorization. It's anything you want to run before the request runs essentially.
Yeah, so I can like maybe attach something with a middleware to the request, or yeah, you can do maybe like I want to track all page visits. I can track all page
Yeah.
visits with, like the middlewares.
Or
You can have
maybe
more.
like track like how long a page takes to load or something, like you can
Yeah, I think
things like
Laravel
that.
does that already.
Oh, of course. Of course it does.
Oh, you should probably install the Laravel PHP debug bar by Barry VDH. So it gives us like insight on the application. You can Google that and get the command maybe. So
PHP
Laravel
debug.
debug, more like Laravel debug bar.
It's
Let's say
Laravel.
Laravel debug. Yeah, it should be Laravel debug bar.
It's not PHP Storm.
The Barry VDH Laravel
This
debug bar.
guy.
Yep, absolute Chad.
So this one right here, the with the dash dev.
Yes, and that's it. You don't need to do anything from down there. It's except you don't want like automatic service discovery.
Okay. So was there something I needed to pull out of that
No,
command?
no, that's it.
Okay. Cool.
So we are installing. I don't know why we say require. We have Composer install is for installing from log file, while Composer require is for adding packages.
Okay. And is dash dev the same as like a dash dev
Yes.
in npm?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. It's dev versus prod dependencies essentially. My slow internet's kicking in again.
I don't think this command doesn't depend on the internet. PHP artisan vendor publish tag Laravel. Something is slowing it down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's done. So
So you can restart the server and go check out your new debug bar.
okay. And then so on this, I had it on, and it's down there on the bottom.
Yep.
Cool.
So now we could, if you want to be able to do in the dashboard page, we could do that, or we could create a new route.
Let's create it like a fresh route. I think.
Yeah, let's create a new route. So we could below the routes get dashboard. So below that we could just copy. So we have named routes, so you can refer to a route by its name instead of like by its URL, which is nice. So you can like copy that. So route get, because we are creating a get route.
This guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. You can copy that and then paste it
right below
down
it
there.
inside the middleware section. Can I do that?
Yes. So because we want this route to only be accessible when the person is logged in,
Okay. Cool.
and that will name this as to do. So now Laravel allows us to, in place of this function, so instead of writing all our business code here, we can write we could write like in controllers, or we could pass a livewire class. So we could literally pass the to do class. Laravel allows us to do that. Or you could, I don't know, I think that's controllers and class and livewire controllers. I think.
So you got the component based like a method with the livewire, and then you've got like the old MVC style with the
Controller
with the class.
Yes.
Or the
could,
the controller.
Yeah, you could pass a controller that literally just renders the livewire. You could just pass the livewire itself. So maybe since we're using livewire, we could just pass the livewire class.
Okay. So how do I do that?
You delete the function.
The whole function comes out
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, the entire function goes goodbye.
Okay.
And we reference the to do. So we get the class, the livewire class to do.
Okay. So I'm a noob at this. Just letting you know.
Yeah,
So
just to do
okay.
in caps.
So
Sorry,
it's
to do
this
in
guy
caps.
right here.
Yes.
Okay.
And you colon class to tell PHP that that is a class.
So this guy,
Yes.
and
And
then
now we can essentially go and take a look at our to do.
okay.
Let's see if that works. I hope that works.
Oh,
Oh no. Oh yeah,
layout.
we haven't specified. No, we haven't specified a layout view.
Okay.
So we can. So Livewire allows us to do this in two ways. You can specify it in the to do itself, or you can specify one global layout.
Okay.
And the nice thing is Jetstream already comes with that layout, so we can just use the Jetstream layout for now. So could you open your views? So we're going deep diving into views.
Views slash.
I'm looking for a layout. Layouts app.blade.php. Yep, that
This-
is our Jetstream layout.
Okay.
I think that is, yep, that is our Jetstream layout.
I don't know why I don't have syntax highlighting in this one, but
It's Blade. It's Blade syntax highlighting a new of him. Well, I think there is an experimental Blade. There's an experimental Blade. Yeah, you gotta install it manually. It's not there.
it's not in Mason.
It's not in Mason.
Ah. But it's okay. I don't need highlighting for this.
Oh God. Yeah, it's not Blade highlighting is one of those things that I wish New of him had. So we're going to now we have to go to the to do class. We're going to the to do class and we're going to reference this file as the layout
Okay. So we have to go back into the.
to do.
I don't have Git set up, so I keep hitting the Git shortcut, and it.
Yeah.
So this
Just
guy.
do like git in it or something.
Yeah. I should.
So
There we go. We're good now.
so we are creating a function that called layout that tells Livewire what layout we're using.
Is it public?
Yeah, it's public.
Any parameters?
Yeah, that works.
I have Copilot on, so.
So let's make sure this works. So the dot syntax. So I should probably mention that because it's I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, I know that. I know what's going on. The dot syntax is for our views, or maybe even no, not routes. For our views, we can access a view by saying something dot something. So like Livewire is the folder, and we have a file called to do in the Livewire. So we are saying layout, or in this case, layouts is the folder, and we have something called we have an app.blade.php. So we can say layouts.app, and it would like resolve that for us.
Okay. So you just leave you use the period as the delimiter and leave off the extension, essentially.
Yes,
Okay. Cool.
yes, that's an efficient way of saying it. That should-
So component layout view not found.
God. Okay, I think we might need to. I don't know why it's searching it for it in the components directory, but just for now, you can copy the layouts file into the component. You can just like make a copy of app.blade.php into the components in views.
Okay. So we're going to. So this guy. So, and then go to where?
And put it in components. Views, component, resources, views, components,
One more.
components,
There we go.
and we can just paste it in here.
So what do we want to name it? It's app dot layout dot.
Layout slash. Oh, we're making a folder and putting
Oh,
it
okay.
in there. Layouts, and then app dot php, app dot blade dot php.
All the stuff you know in your head, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I get that I have that all the time. And we don't need to change anything else in here.
We might need to change some things, but let's see what happens.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That should probably work. Please, Livewire gods, please.
Looks like it worked.
So we can import our to-do component. Oh wait, sorry. We don't need to do that. Livewire does that for us already. Since this is a full-page component, we can just start writing code and you'd see it in there. Are you running npm run dev? So we get the hot reloading.
So you have to run both the Laravel side and npm.
Yes, you have to run npm run dev.
Okay. So let's just start another one of these. Okay. So this is running just straight V. Is it like Vue or is it like React or just straight up HTML CSS?
Yeah, straight up Vite.
Okay. Cool.
So now we get hot reloading for free.
Oh, nice. Dark Reader won't.
No.
Oh well, that's fine.
I'm blinded by light.
Right? Like you can see I'm glowing.
So bright.
Yep.
That's true. You gotta move the dark to the top.
Yep.
So now you could try going to the to-do.blade file and let's just put something in there and like hello world to get your first.
So in
You
here,
always get almost with a blade file. The master doesn't talk. So that is how comments work in Blade.
okay.
That curly dash that syntax. So you can delete that.
That's easy.
Yeah. So now you should see hello world. It's there.
Oh, it's just the wrong color. That's okay.
Let's make
There we
sure
go. It was Dark Reader.
let's make sure the hot reloading works. So try changing the file and saving. Should work. Okay, that
Nice.
works.
Nice. Cool.
So what we can do now is we create so what kind of are we creating a to-do in memory or are we creating a to-do in a database?
Is it hard to put it in the SQLite database that comes for free with
no,
it?
it's not. It's not. Eloquent would probably make that easier.
Yeah, let's do that. It's a little more real world.
Okay, so we are going to create a new migration. So everything database starts with the migration.
Okay.
Oh no, you
Oh.
run a PHP command.
I'm so used to just like, oh, I need a file. I need to write my migration, right?
So we run a PHP command.
Okay.
PHP artisan make migration, and that is how we make our files in Laravel world. It's too lazy. So we are creating a create to-dos table and to-dos has to be plural.
Yep.
Yeah, that works. And you've gotten your to-dos table.
Okay.
Oh, geez. Now let's run PHP. We should have just run the combo. We could have run PHP make, but I don't want to add that much files for now, and I don't want to. So we can also make the model,
Okay.
or we have a faster approach in Laravel world, which I should have mentioned earlier, where you can just
Hmm.
create a model and it creates a migration for you.
Oh,
So you can make model and it creates a bunch of you can do make model and then do to do in capital. To do
like
in
that?
capital. Yes, yes, that works. You can also add any of these. Like we've created a migration already. You can create a form request. I think we'll need that.
Okay. Oh,
Oh
no.
no, no, it's fine. You can always create it manually. So, um,
I hit
so
enter
now
instead of
we'll
space.
yeah. So now we are going to add stuff to our migrations.
Okay.
So what does a to-do have? I never built a to-do. Never built a to-do before.
It should just be like a name and like a checked. It should be like two fields, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah, that works. We could add a
Which
description.
one
The
was
last one, so it's time. It's those are the dates that the migration was created,
okay.
and yeah. So that one. And now in our migration files, you see that we have a schema builder that allows us to add different column types to our database. And we have an up and down. So the down is for when you're trying to reverse the migration, and the up is for when you're running the migration.
Gotcha.
So we've got IDs and timestamps by default. You
Okay.
could add a table. I'd put it before the timestamp. It's a meeting.
It's a convention sort of a thing.
Yeah. It's cool.
So this should be a string and this should just be title, right?
Yes.
And then
You can do cool pilot. Spoiling the fun, co-pilot.
it's giving it away. Like
Giving
I
it all away.
I really should have it off right now. I might even disable it here. Copilot disable. Because it's spoiling it. So.
Well, the schema builder has a bunch of stuff, even some stuff I didn't know it had, like location, but you can add points, location points, which is weird.
Oh, like GIS
Yeah.
locations?
Yeah, you can add points. It's a lot.
Oh, JSON
Yeah,
objects?
JSON.
Cool.
A bunch of JSON. We typically store arrays as JSON, and we have this thing called accessors and mutators. So Laravel helps you automatically turn the JSON into an array each time you access it, which is nice.
Nice. Nice. And
So,
you could probably get the same effect with like native like Postgres or something. To do
yeah.
that.
Laravel, I don't know how Laravel does it, but they do it. I think they just call like array to JSON, no, array to JSON. No, sorry, JSON to array. Is it JSON decode? I think
Hmm.
that's what it's called in PHP. I used this yesterday. I don't learn the names of methods. I just wait for my ID to pop them up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so we're going to run the migration
Okay.
and
Um,
artisan migrate.
and it
And now we
ran.
have our to-do table. So
Okay.
let's create a form
Okay.
for the to-dos. We're using Livewire. So we're going back to the to-do. Do you have Harpoon? Because
I do.
you might need Harpoon for this.
Are are we going to the blade or the PHP?
We're going to go back and forth between both. That's why I'm asking for harpoon.
Okay. So let's
Yeah.
add this one to harpoon. To do blade. Add this one. They're both in harpoon now.
All right. So we'll first create the input form. Maybe that's just the.
Is it like a standard form?
Yeah, it's a standard form. Just
Okay.
regular HTML for the form and the input.
Is there an action or anything here?
We'll leave that empty for now.
Okay.
Just nothing.
Okay.
And then input.
We'll just say text.
Or we could use the inputs that Jetstream gives us.
Okay.
So I think, if I can remember, it's probably X input. So Blade component, we have components in Blade. So we have regular views and then we have components. So that's why that's why Laravel was complaining when we didn't put it inside the components because Livewire is looking for a component as the layout.
Okay.
So we have our components are referenced with x dash, so x dash something. So and yes, which it's input because I think Jetstream gives us input. So we can do x dash input and see if that works.
So
Yeah.
type should be text, right?
Yes.
Then we can just see if that works in theory.
Yes, let's see if that works.
And there's
Okay,
a
that
text
works.
input. Look at that. Cool.
So we could probably center this using like Tailwind because Jetstream comes with Tailwind by default.
Okay. Okay, so the style
Class. Oh, sorry.
Class.
I thought you were using Tailwind.
class. We can do Tailwind. I'm just not a Tailwind expert, so I'll defer to your expertise.
We could do my favorite MX Auto and then with MX Auto MY. Oh, no, I think Tailwind comes with container. I've never really, I really don't know what that does, but let's try container first. Let's see.
So, do you want MX Auto in there too?
No, let's try container, just container first. I'm sorry, YouTube. I suck at CSS, but I built a UI framework. Also, Twitch.
I suck at CSS too, so I won't notice. So.
No, that doesn't work. So that's a chat CN thing.
Okay.
So we're gonna do our MX Auto with 70. No, W70. Oh, sorry. You don't know Tailwind. Oh no.
Nope.
Like W dash 3/2 maybe. Oh geez.
W dash.
Like wait, sorry. I'm trying to just put the like brackets, like regular brackets.
Like.
Yeah, like regular brackets.
Like that?
Yeah. We use SCSS at work.
Okay.
Oh no, like the dash still stays. The dash stays.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, cool.
And like 70%. So this is a Tailwind. You can specify arbitrary values with Tailwind.
Interesting.
So we get it centered.
Okay.
We probably get it
Perfect.
more centered. And then we can just add some giant margin, or we could have just used flex. Jeez.
I could have, or grid. I could have done that too, but whatever. Honestly, I can live with this. This is fine.
Okay, so we could just put some margin like MY, like 32 maybe. MY 32 something.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't industry CSS, but it works.
This is demo code. All right.
So now the livewire magic happens with you can call or you can well we can do this multiple ways. We can do this like on submit of a button. Oh no, sorry. We are adding a to-do now. We'll probably have to press enter. So we would just do this. We wouldn't use a button. We'll just use on change. How do we do the enter thing? We can use wire click. I can't remember. Sorry.
We could
I
just use
gotta
a submit button if that's easiest.
yeah, I was trying to make it fancy, but I typically would because I'm someone that I tend to use like because Alpine and Livewire ships together. So I tend to use Alpine instead of Live. Like it's the same thing sometimes. So I tend to use Alpine more than Livewire, but it's the same. But we are doing Livewire here for now. So let's use Alpine. So like let's make things chaotic a bit. So we could do okay. No, let's just use Livewire. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
Because we got to call something. We got to call like a backend method that we're about to write. So we'll write an add method in the livewire file, and we'll call the add method from here. So maybe we'll do wire.submit. Maybe we can do wire. Oh no, not there. Like we'll just use a button for now.
Okay.
In form, wire submit. No, in form we'll do wire submit. Oh no, like in the form, in the. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting you don't know, like,
I'm new. I'm new.
in the form you can like space then wire submit.
Oh, up here?
Yeah.
Like this?
No, colon wire submit and equal to maybe add to do.
Parentheses?
Yes. Yeah, that looks good. Oh no parentheses. I don't think we need those. Do we need those? I'm not sure.
They might be optional if they're like JavaScript submit stuff.
So now we can create a button like the same thing, X button, because Jetstream ships with that X button, just like regular HTML button,
Okay.
and then close like a regular HTML button, and maybe put submit in there. I don't know. You typically have to look at their implementation or like look at how they use it, but I think this is how most people would do it.
Yeah.
So let's see if we get the button at least. Okay,
Ooh,
we do get
it looks nice even. Oh, and of
No,
course it's
we haven't written that yet.
it's okay. I can get back.
So we are going to write the add to do.
Okay.
But remember, we'll just write the add to do with like the let's write the add to do for now.
Okay. Where's that gonna go?
In the livewire, in the livewire PHP file. So it's like you see how we can write. We are writing both. We are writing both front end code and we are writing back end code from the back end code that runs in the back end.
Okay.
So we are going to the PHP to do app, to do file. So the other Harpoon file. Yes, this one. And we are going to create a method called add to do.
Okay.
And we are going to say, so now this is where we introduce, oh geez, we are meant to get the, so now this is, we have to do something called, oh, okay, I see why I was like confused at some point. We have to bind the input, like the title, we have to bind it to a property in the backend. Well, you can do this multiple ways, but this is how I'll do this for now. We have to bind, so we'll create a new public. Everything that we want to expose to the front end is public, while private is not going to be exposed to the front end.
Okay.
So we'll create a public string called title at the top.
I like to put that up there. Yeah.
Yeah, at the top, we'll create a public string called title,
Okay.
and then we colon. We can do this. You forgot the $sign.
Oh my gosh. I'm in PHP. Okay.
Sorry, I just I want to verify something about Livewire before. I don't know why I'm forgetting this. Just looking at the wire submit said, okay, yes, this is the way they do it. Okay. So we have the public string variable title, and now we are going to create a to-do using the title. So we're in the add to-do down there in the add to-do. We are going to we're going to say to-do capital letter, not the class at this time, but oh no, we have name conflicts, but that would the LSP will help us handle that. To do the model version this time, yours doesn't say it.
It didn't. Yeah.
We need the to do from the model to do. So maybe you can call it model to do. But you have to you can't just do that. No, that doesn't work. You have to import the to do class, but import it with an alias.
Okay.
So maybe use app slash model slash to do. Did we not create that? I thought you didn't create that. I don't think it got created.
So it should be like that, right?
Yes, should be like that.
LFC's gonna get angry. How do you do an alias?
As. Use that as. Maybe add model to do, or to do model. Model to do, or to do. Anyone works.
I like that. Okay, and then
that works. So now we will call the model to do.
I assume we need to go make that model now, right?
I thought we already made the model with PHP artisan make model.
Would it where would it be again?
The app. So the first one.
App models to do.
Yeah, we did.
I wonder if it's LSP restart.
What PHP LSP do you use?
This is IntelliFence.
I typically use Rector, but it's not like there was any crazy difference. Rector works really well for me, but yeah, that works.
I can switch too. I could restart NeoVim and switch real quick.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine.
I just picked the top one out of the list in Mason.
So now we are going to say model to do.
Okay.
Model to do.
Okay.
And then colon. And we're going to we want to add it to the database, so we'll say create.
Okay.
And then pass an array.
Okay.
With title, this title.
So
does that make sense?
Title.
This title.
And then it's an associative array like this, right?
You have to use equals to that.
Equal like this or equal like this?
Like that. Yeah.
Okay. Title.
Because the other syntax was PHP's version of objects.
Yeah.
Oh no, you have to put the angle brackets after the equal.
Okay. I thought there was an arrow there.
Yeah. And then your semicolon.
Yep.
So now what do you mean? Well,
is it this? Do I have to say this?
Yeah, we have to do this dot title. This dash. Oh, geez. I no. You have to. In the variable goes before the this. So the variable this, then dash the weird PHP syntax thingy.
Oh boy.
Variable this,
Okay, walk me through it slowly.
variable, and this. After the dollar sign is this. Oh, geez. I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Here.
I
So,
call the
I'm just gonna leave it in insert, and then what?
dollar sign this. I typically say variable as dollar sign this, then
Oh,
not dot. We don't do dots. We don't do dots here.
no.
Dash and title. Yes, that
So
dots.
you don't need the dollar sign after the accessor?
No,
Oh,
this.
interesting.
I know it's weird. What is well on the model to do? Oh yeah, you need to change it to do model. So where that typically when I do this, oh no, this is create, so it should work. But sometimes Neofim starts screaming, "Hey, we can't find this method."
No, it likes it right now. So,
Yeah, it's when we get into like the selecting that you'd see a bunch of that. So now we've written the create. So what we'll do after this is we don't want the title to still stay the same, so we can like reset the title. So you
can
can
can I
do title
just
is equals. Yeah,
can
you can do that, or you can just call like reset, but it's the same thing.
reset? So there's a
Yeah, there's like a variable this reset. I'll keep saying that throughout,
this guy.
and you can pass in title. I think you can just pass it as a string if I remember correctly.
Properties
Should be a string.
like this.
Yes. So we're resetting the title after we create the model.
That's a little more explicit. So, okay.
So now we've written the method to add to the to-dos. Now I think that should work. We might get something about you can't do mass assignment, but let's see if that works.
Okay. I'm gonna restart or
Fine.
refresh just for fun. Submit.
To do title must not. Oh darn! We forgot to.
So do we
Oh
need?
yeah, we haven't bound it to in the front end. So now
Gotcha.
we have to bind it to what the value of the input. So in the blade file, we will say wire. We will say wire in the input. Sorry, we'll say wire model. So it's just like doing two-way binding is equal to title. Since that's so we are binding it to a public property in there in the
Okay.
like PHP file. So this allows us to write backend and front end code like simultaneously.
Okay.
So now if we try this, I mean we might still get that same error, but I think that should work. Okay, now yes, this is what I was saying. We'll
Yeah.
probably get mass assignment error. So we have to go. So Laravel does this thing where you have to either explicitly say you want this you want to be able to edit like in this create you want to be able to edit this column like in a create or like how do I explain this? You can't do anything to the model without putting it like without like just imagine like passwords for example accidentally reset updating the passwords. So Laravel protects against that by you can't as long as it's not in the fillable array or as long as you don't like if you set an empty guarded. Well, let's just go to the code. I'll show you what I mean
Mm-hmm.
because that doesn't make any sense. So if you go to model to do or to do just to do sorry, we just call it to do. We literally just call it to do. So now we can create a new fillable array. So that is the columns that Laravel would allow us to update. So we can say public after the use factory. So we can say public variable fillable. So the $ fillable is equal to, and then we'll put the name of our column that we want to be able to update inside title. So that,
Like that?
yes, and that should work now
Okay.
in the front end.
Uh,
And
it
that worked.
It's in our database
So now, yeah, so now we need to figure out how to display all the to-dos. So in our blade file, or rather, we need to like create the collection. And I've seen some people say, "Oh yeah, don't do that," but just for now, we'll like just get. So we have collections in Laravel, obviously. So we can query the database using the Eloquent ORM,
Okay.
and then save that to a collection that Livewire would help us pass to the front end. So if we go to the to-dos PHP file, and we can create a new variable to store that collection called public string public to-dos. Let's not put the type yet. Public to-dos,
Okay.
and we would create a mount method. So mount is just like, because this is a Livewire component and Livewire does things, we can't use the constructor in this class. So we have to use a mount method. So I typically put that at the top.
Above render.
Yeah, just think of it as I typically put render at the bottom and mount at the top. So mount is like our constructor.
It's the Laravel constructor, essentially.
No, actually just Livewire. It's just
Just
it's a
Livewire.
Livewire thing. Yeah.
Okay.
And now we are going to set this to-dos. So I'm setting this. You have to do this. Like, yeah.
Okay.
And we are setting it to, we're going to create a new we're going to like query with using Eloquent. So model, to-do model rather, to-do model. And now, and colon, are going to say all, actually, just all.
Yeah, we don't need to filter or anything.
No filtering necessary.
Okay.
And in the blade, we can loop through these to-dos and print them all. We can print the title of each to-do. So don't you want to do that below? Or do you want to do that above?
I'm going to do it above. So ULs, and then how do you loop?
So we use, blade has our at directive, so at for each.
Okay.
Yes, so your parenthesis,
Okay.
and then the name of the, we don't need this in the Laravel in the blade file.
Okay.
So we'll say to-dos as to-do. To-dos as to-do.
It's backwards. Like this?
Is that how we do this? Or am I thinking of a different language? We'll find out soon. Yeah. And then you go down and say at end for each, so that we end the for each, at end for each.
Okay.
And now we can print the to-do. Now to print, we do what's that? The curly braces twice. Yes.
Like this?
Not
Not
no
dot.
dot.
Not
dot.
dot. I gotta get that out of my head.
I know it's a nightmare switching from class Java to PHP every day. It's a nightmare.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, I like my C#. I like the dot, and Go does the dot too.
I like the dot too, but that's something that pisses me off. Dot is concatenation in PHP for some reason.
Oh, I think double dot in Lua is concatenation too. I was like, I would have never guessed that. Like that's not intuitive at all.
Oh, you get used to it when you write a lot of PHP.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's see if that works.
Okay.
Probably port reload. Hey,
Test.
yeah, we got it
Okay.
in.
So now does it
Yeah, it's going into.
is it?
Wait, what? It didn't
It doesn't
Oh yeah,
refresh.
it doesn't refresh. That okay? That's that. Oh yeah, makes sense. We didn't update any public. We didn't update any
Oh,
variable in Livewire. So if
I
you want,
think I know. No, 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 no,
you
no, no, no,
can
no.
do it in the mounter. You have to do it in add to do. So you
Yes.
gotta refetch.
So
But
okay. So after
yeah,
reset, we should let me think of. I might be able to do this. This to do's gets to do. We can just grab the last one, right?
yep,
That way we get exactly what's in the database.
yep.
Okay.
Now that should work now.
Oh, that's sweet. That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Okay, the last thing I'd like to do for tonight, can we remove them?
Yes, we can. You just gotta create your remove button.
Okay, so if I'm gonna start here. Public function remove to do. Okay, can I take a parameter in here?
Yes, man.
So that's gonna be an ID, right?
Yeah, you can do IDs. Yeah, that's typically how I'll do it.
Okay.
Oh, what am I saying? That's like the only way to do it.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't know how else to do it. So then to do model. This is a test of how intuitive this is. Delete? Remove? No,
It's delete. I
deleted.
don't know why. I have no idea why it's saying deleted. It's probably delete. Should
Okay.
be delete.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, you just pass the ID in.
Okay, and then I should be able to this to do's.
I don't think you need. Okay, yeah. You're refetching it. To do model oral.
Okay.
So now we have this thing in. I'm not. Is that the right? I think it's delete. Am I being gaslit into something? I write this every day. It's delete. Why am
Deleted
I? I don't think it's deleted. It should be delete.
registers
I
a
think.
deleted model event with the
Yep,
dispatcher.
it's. Oh, okay. No, we can't just do that. Yeah, I remember. Jesus, you can't just. You can't just do that.
I can't
You
just
have to
delete
first of
things.
all. You have to first of all fetch the model, and then delete it.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
we have to find and delete.
Oh, I have to grab the record back and there's a
Or you
delete
could just
method on
you,
top of
you
that record.
you could just use destroy. I'm just literally finding out we had a destroy method.
Okay. Destroy.
That works.
Oh, it takes an array, int, or string. Okay, cool. Okay. Now
And then
we need to
and
go
then
to
we
the blade
yeah
file, right?
yes create. You need to create a form for each li.
Do we
Maybe.
have? We do. Okay. How do I want to do this? Just for cleanliness sake, I think I have to do this. And they have to be in a form.
Yes, so we just like the same thing. Wire submit and to I mean, you can call it in multiple ways, but this is how I'll do it for now. You can call it in many ways.
Okay.
And remember, we have to pass the ID.
Yeah. So this would be to do dot or not dot ID.
Yes. Now this works because to do I no, but that this you're just writing plain HTML right now. You have to like render the to do ID using the
Like this.
curly braces. Yes.
Okay.
Now, if this was a string, you'd have to put like because this is like front end and back end code. This
Mm-hmm.
is going to get rendered to HTML, and it's to get rendered to remove to do and then the ID. So you have to put like the apostrophe like the quotes.
The
Does that make
quotes.
sense? So like sometimes you have to put like
Gotcha, gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha, gotcha. Like this? Well,
yes, something like that. If it was a string,
okay.
I know.
Is it an int by default?
I mean, ID is an int, so yes.
Okay. Okay. But that
You don't
makes
need to put
sense. That makes sense.
yeah.
Form, and then we could say, so this is just X button,
Button, delete.
delete. I can't type anymore. It's getting late. Okay. What am I missing? Is that it?
I think that's it.
Okay. And each one now has a terribly formatted delete method. And it deletes them. And they stay gone. So ideally, I'd change that to a span, move it to the side, make it like a red X or something. But for concept wise, this is working. Sweet.
That is Laravel.
Sweet. I don't need a front end framework. Why would I need Vue or Svelte or anything?
I mean, it depends on what you're building. If you're my where I work, we are pushing Livewire to its absolute limits.
It's a little
We
more than
are
CRUD apps.
we've abused Livewire. I would say it depends on what you want to do.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Oh, there is sometimes where Livewire can't just figure out how to dump diff, or like it can't just figure out the components. So there are like tips and tricks that you follow to fix that.
Yeah.
And now it's like it has gotten into it's like second nature to me now. It's like, oh, I know how to fix this.
Yep. Yep. It's all part of the learning curve. But this is really cool. I like this a lot. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna
You haven't
dig.
even gone into what like Laravel can do.
Oh,
Like,
I
you haven't
know. This is like
Laravel.
basics. Like this is like baby's Laravel. I know. So, but no, I think I do have to get to bed, but I
Right?
really do appreciate this a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we could do this some other time.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like once I get my feet under me and maybe hopefully some blade formatting or something in the editor.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Do you have anything you want to plug? I'm probably going to turn this into a YouTube video. Do you have anything you want to plug in the end of the YouTube video or anywhere
I have
people?
a UI library.
You do.
Yeah. It's
Artisan
and
UI.
we push that so we'll stop making terrible format. This really helps.
So Shadcn for Laravel, is that the tagline basically?
Yes. that is the tagline. It's a CN, but for Laravel, I've spent so much time writing JS Spent so much time writing JS, and I've written a lot of. I think this project is more JS than Blade or PHP, just so that I like give everyone like a dependency less. I only have one dependency, which is date FNS for all those components. So if
That's
you
pretty
can go,
good.
you can go to the. Oh, geez, it was a nightmare.
So, but it's xaui.com.
Yeah, the AUI stands for artisan UI, and the X is like the Blade X dash input.
I gotcha. Yeah. Cool.
It was short. So, can you like show them some components maybe? So
In the
we
docs and
can go
stuff.
through the components maybe. Got a calendar, people.
Oh, calendar. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I need this in my one of my other apps at work that's not PHP.
It uses Livewire. I mean, I can give you the Alpine code, but not much
It
you can do
won't
with that.
it won't work without PHP.
No, it would. I mean, it has like a JS, like it has JS. I can which the JS files, and then we have PHP. So it's more of JS than the PHP is just calling the JS. Like we're just like the PHP is just to make it a component. All the JS is doing the actual work. This calendar was a nightmare.
Calendars are like they just
Oh jeez.
like date spans like just dates and times in general are a nightmare. So
I was trying to like feature match, well, almost feature match the React day picker from Shad CN uses. So it's like it's a lot. It
oh
was a
my
lot
gosh.
for keys.
Yeah. Yeah, this
So
is crazy cool.
we also have like the drop down menu and the sheets and all that stuff.
Oh, the animation, I like it.
The sheets and the dialogues and the tabs, and I'm trying to
Okay.
make it accessible.
This is cool. This is neat. I like it.
Yeah. So just a bit of self promotion here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
The tabs. I don't know why my favorite is the sheet. It's
The
like
sheet.
yeah, for some reason I'm like
Oh, I love that.
the, sh-
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
sheet is my favorite because it's like I built that and there was like, oh god, I need to put a sheet for like the side menu. It's like, hey, I got a dialogue already.
I might have to steal some of the back end code here and do this in Go in another project I'm working on because that's a really nice
Yeah.
UX. So,
Yeah, you could definitely write it. You could definitely take the PHP and like take the JavaScript and convert it into Go. It's just that it's not fully accessible yet. So I think if I remember correctly, I think the dialogue is accessible now. I don't know how to test that properly. And the accordion alert, I haven't done calendars yet because well, it's a calendar.
yep. Yep.
And like the almost everything except I think tabs too. Date picker is a button with the calendar. Yeah. So
So, but no, this looks awesome. I like it. So
yeah.
I'm gonna probably, if I'm building more with PHP, which I think I'm going to after this, I'm gonna definitely probably use this to get off the ground a lot faster. So this is cool. So thank you again very much for suffering through my noobish ways as I'm trying to learn this, but I appreciate it a lot, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
All right. Goodbye.
Yeah. Everybody have a good one. We're gonna sign off. So yeah, I'll probably talk to you later when I want to build something else. So I'll let you know.
Could actually figure out maybe we could get ideas from chat. there anyone in chat?
I don't know at this point. It's getting kind of late. So,
But probably get ideas from chat and probably
Twitter.
build something like that. Or Twitter, yeah.
yeah, that would be good. So, alrighty.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good one. Thanks again.
Thank you.
It's been fun.
Welcome.
So, yeah. Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.